our story of scheming, corruption, and other scum and villainy terminology begins with you know a colony ship touching down, or not a colony ship, like a actually, yeah, I guess it would be a colony ship, a transport touching down on a bright and sunny tropical planet centered on one continent. The colony is near a vast ocean, and the ship touches down. All the colonists, including your characters, are walking down like this boarding ramp, smelling the fresh air, you know, faint scent of like sea salt, um, hearing a lot of chatter and commotion coming from both the people around you as well as at the colony. And you're hearing a message on a loudspeaker. You have just taken your first steps into your new home, a world of prosperity and potential. On behalf of Weyland Corps, welcome to Terra Nova, where big things have small beginnings. Um, and so, and basically, as it stands right now, your characters have not met because it's basically a case of like, there are 100 people, so the likelihood of you directly crossing paths is small. But I do have plans for you to meet. So you
Well,
basically go through. Oh, sorry.
we would have been in cryo probably, right? Or is that not
No,
used at this time?
no, you would have been in cryo. They did have you know, like cryo, like stasis at this point in time. But basically, you come out of cryo, you get all your stuff together, and then you're disembarking from the ship. Like you're coming out of cryo, like as the ship is heading to the planet. But you go through um the customs, not really like customs, but like the space flight terminal. Your luggage is checked and all that stuff, and how you first meet is you have been separately directed to your housing unit, which basically is like a college dorm. I will bring us over to that map. Um, so, and I gotta get Albert's token. So, yeah,
Oh,
so
lovely.
yeah, and basically, and what this building is made of. So it's actually made. It's not like a metal prefab housing unit. Like this was built with materials on site and like hand painted and stuff. So it's like sort of like a wood furnishings, you know, very minimal metal. It's like it actually like a fancy house you'd see in some sort of like tropical locale. Um, there are 6 bedrooms. The company rep who is, I'll unpause. The company rep who is escorting you says that yeah, you'll be having some more people joining you shortly, which implies El Presidente as well as any potential future PCs. But for now, it is just um, 3 new residents of Terra Nova that have been directed to your new home. The company rep, she gives you all um, some like written instructions that actually kind of vary from person to person that basically say um, after you get settled in, report to your specific department heads, um, and then get some rest because orientation for like it's basically about like midday right now. Orientation for new colonists will be held at 11 a.m. tomorrow outside of the main administrative building, which will cover like get you caught up on the situation at the colony and have like general like training to adapt to the new planet, like survival training, like if you're lost out in the woods or something. And yeah, and as for which department heads that you guys would be reporting to, in the case of Arturo and Conrad, you are currently in like mid-level administrative positions, so you'd be reporting to. Um, there's the. I'll pull us over to the colony overview map for a sec. Um, so you guys are currently here in the residential district. Um, in the case of Arturo and Conrad, you would be reporting to the commercial district because that's where a lot of like the offices are. And then for Simone and Albert, you would be reporting to the administration district. So, but
Okay.
that's after you get settled in, have a little bit of time to like get a meal and get unpacked and socialize and so on and so forth. So, all right, action.
Oh, I love the smell of a new world. It's so exciting to see another another ground beneath your feet. Hello, everyone. I'm Conrad Bass. I've seen we've all come here from the same place, so we'll be uh, probably working together, getting to know each other pretty well over this time. I am one of the new uh, company employees here to make sure everything is running smoothly as it should.
Just a
Well,
quick question. So
it's
we came from
great to meet
Earth,
you.
right?
Yeah, yeah, you would have. Um, basically all the colonists would have been kind of like you could theoretically, I mean, if you wanted to, as part of your backstory, you could be from different colonies, but you would have all been kind of rallied at Earth because that's where the transport ship departs from. So, I mean, if you want to say you're from Earth, that's fine, or if a different colony appeals to you, then that's totally cool too.
Personally, this is my first time here on a different world, so I hope it's not as jarring as some people sometimes say. Have you two had any experience on off-world colonies, or is this your first time as well?
So I will say, yes, I've worked on some colonies for the company before. I was at Ruby Colony and a few other small, minor ones that you've probably never heard of.
Oh, nice. Well, then I might be asking you for some advice if this turns out to be a bit more of a learning curve for me. But nice. I didn't catch what was your name?
Yes, well, you should definitely listen to me. I'll make sure things go well for you and uh, you get what you deserve. My name is Albert Zims. I'm assigned here. Well, let's just say I've got an important job to do, and we'll probably be running into each other.
All right, Albert. We'll take that to note. Uh,
Just out of
and
character, is it public knowledge yet what my job is, or is that like kind of not been announced yet?
Um, I would say that if it's something that people were specifically looking into, then they could find that information, but it's not a case of like when all the colonists were assembled, some person was like, listen up, this guy right here is going to be the new sheriff of the colony. But yeah, that's a little bit of meta knowledge. That's obviously, yeah,
Okay.
what you were sent here to do. But it's the kind of thing like I would say that for Simone and Conrad, like if you were curious, you wanted to know a little bit more, then that's information that could be easily obtained. It's not like they were saving that to be some big reveal.
Okay. Yeah, so I think like in
Okay.
character, sorry, go ahead.
No,
So
I was just saying, okay, cool, we can find the information easily.
yeah, so I think
Go
in
ahead, please.
character I wouldn't give out a lot of details, but just for the purpose of the game, basically I'm gonna be the new or Albert is gonna be the new like sheriff or colony security officer, whatever you want to call it. Um, and I don't know how much of like the character stuff we want to get into or reveal it during the game, but I'm sort of uh, gonna be um, let's see, how do I want to phrase it? I'm going to be looking out for my own interests a lot, so we'll,
I wouldn't
we'll,
expect
we'll we'll
anything
leave it
less
at
from this
that.
group. So,
that'll fit right in.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Um, but yeah, I mean, like, and based on what we discussed, like pre-game, it's like, however much you guys want to share about your characters, that's totally fine. Obviously, like, character motives are something that you would have to find out in character, but like basic information, like what I said about like Albert being the new, civil marshal, like that stuff is public knowledge. But in terms of what people's actual agendas are, I mean, you're gonna have to kind of figure that out in character at least. Um,
yeah. I was just wondering if you wanted to kind of share at least some of it up
yeah,
front,
if you
just
guys want to, go ahead.
What do you all think?
I'm good either way. I could give out some bits and pieces out of character knowledge if people want to do it a bit more openly. But if people want a bit more surprises here and there, we can also keep it only to the basics. So whatever, I'm good with both. Let's just say it as that.
I'm good with whatever everyone is willing to share.
Okay.
Just, you know, little or as little or as much as your character would,
Okay.
basically. Excuse me.
Okay.
I'd prefer to share a little bit just so that we have a basic understanding of
Yeah.
why people are doing things
Okay.
in game.
Okay.
Okay,
That's fine with me. So.
So I guess I'll start. Yeah. So
Works,
my
works for
character
me.
is basically kind of like think of it like a corporate agent, but more of like the grunt side. So I'm sort of like the hired help or the wet work style person. So like, the corporate agent like tells me what to do and I sort of do it because I know, who's writing the checks and who has all the power and stuff like that. Um, so I'm definitely gonna be down for whatever like corrupt crap is going down in the colony sort of stuff. I'm gonna be like, "Yep, sure, boss. You want me to like face hug these people? Yeah, that sounds cool."
Lovely.
Oh, that's gonna be fantastic. Um. So, all right. Well, what about
And
you,
then I
Conrad? Oh,
honestly
sorry.
I have
Oh
some
my
secret
god.
stuff that I'm gonna be doing, but yeah, that's
Okay.
that's pretty
Okay.
much it.
All right. What about you, Conrad?
I'm here to sort of get the wheels of the evil stuff going, I think.
Good to know. Good to know. Um, Conrad is he's the kind of middle level of company agent. He's been with the company for some time, but he definitely has out of character. He has ambitions to uh, get up in the world. He has a lot of nefarious and corrupt dealings. He's
Yeah, that's a word
already
that's going to come up a
planning
lot, I'm sure.
yeah, and getting ready for. Um, but he will out of character. He will try to be as friendly with people as possible. He's going to try and be everybody's friend on everybody's good side. And when the opportunities come, he's going to do what needs to be done, take what's his, basically. So uh, there will be very the very typical kind of corporate shenanigans you expect, with a few twists that you'll all learn eventually.
So what I'm hearing is basically, I'm Burke, Carter Burke. I work for the company, but don't let you fool that I'm really an okay guy.
Yeah. He's trying to be really nice with everyone.
Okay. So, um, and
You
Kowalski,
see
I
that
mean, like
smile on
Simone,
the
I
end.
know you're probably like the token good teammate here, but I mean, if there's anything you want to share about Simone, that's
Yeah,
optional.
of course. Um, yeah, the more I listen to the motivations, I realize Simone joined like, this outing to like legitimately explore. That's the one thing that she like the one purpose that she wants to do, and just, you know, very open, very friendly, but
Doesn't
at
realize
the
she's
same
in a
time
group of
just
evil
uh,
manipulators.
yeah.
Oh
I
Lord.
I'm sitting here listening to this at my desk, shaking my head like, "Oh man, what have I gotten into?"
Oh God.
I love it. It's gonna be great, but
So, okay,
Welcome
so
to the
is
real world.
so
Basically.
anyway,
yeah.
is there anything that you guys like in character would like to be doing in this scene?
Well, Conrad, after talking with Albert here, he will face Simone, which he doesn't know the name of yet, and he's like, "And you are?"
Oh, apologies. Uh, Sloan Kowalski. You do. Uh, I
You're kind of lagging a bit.
I was in college right before this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
your
it's
voice is
breaking up a
kind
bit.
of
I
cutting
switched
out.
microphone. Hopefully that-
Simone is a goddamn android.
She's a goddamn synthetic.
hopefully.
Huh? You
What
sound
about
better
hopefully?
there.
Oh, can you
Yeah, a little bit
can you
better now.
hear me better?
Yeah, there's a little bit of lag, but
It's a bit better now, yeah.
Sorry. But introduction. Right. Sorry, I forgot to introduce myself. Simone Kowalski. It's very nice to meet you. Right before this, right before they freezer and sent us out here, I finished a degree, and well, I'm what they call prospector, not wildcatter. Nice to meet you both.
Oh,
Just
nice.
like handshake and very friendly.
Nice to meet you. Hope we'll all be having lovely working relationships. Here, these new worlds, they have so much potential and opportunity to build something new. I can't wait to see uh, what new mysteries of this earth that lies before us can show us.
Oh,
so
I'm sure it's gonna be just a grand old time. I can tell you all kinds of stories, but it's babbling and nervous chatter
so
from
a question
Simone.
I have. So rooms. Yeah, there's 6 rooms, and you guys have first dibs.
I
So
think benefiting my position of authority, I would take whatever one is the best.
Conrad started looking at the rooms, and he's very disappointedly noticing they're all the same damn size.
yeah,
Well,
yeah, exactly.
which one has the best view, or maybe
I'll say that this one has like a view, like these two have a view of the ocean.
okay, it's also by itself and not right next to the bathroom, so I would definitely take that one. So I have some more privacy.
Okay. So and I'll.
Conrad is going for the one near the bathroom. He just gestures to everyone. I have a bit of a nervous bowel sometimes after
Okay.
the cryo, so
uh,
I would prefer such a room.
Okay. I'm
sure.
just gonna mark the room. So,
And with that, what he means is that he can quickly get to the bathroom to sell drugs.
Yes, let's say it's drugs. Yes.
I'll
I
also
can really
point
not
out.
hear you.
Sorry for not spectating. That was too good to pass up.
No, that's fine.
I can barely hear
I
you
love
when
it,
you speak.
man.
Oh, you might have to turn him up. I can hear him just fine. But anyway, what I'll also point out is for Conrad, um, in terms of your gear, this is sort of like because the rooms weren't assigned, but they all have computer
Mhm.
terminals. An unofficial third piece of starting gear is a certain key card that'll allow
Mhm.
you to contact certain individuals from
Understood.
from your like bedroom terminal. So whether you want to do that now or later on, that's totally fine. Like everybody right now is like getting their shit, like into their bedrooms and unpacking and so on and so forth.
Yep, he'll leave that for later after
Okay.
he sees his supervising
Okay.
boss there. He's just first making sure the room is all nice to his likings.
All right. Yeah, it's a pretty nice room. Like, I mean, I know the beds look like separate beds, but they are supposed to be like king size beds. Um, and there's a computer terminal there, and um, they're like cabinets and stuff. So, I mean, it's a pretty roomy bedroom, and you've got plenty of luxuries there. And that goes for all the bedrooms. So, yeah. So you guys, if there's nothing else, we can continue to the next scene.
Yep.
Okay.
After that, yeah, he'll wanna meet his supervisors.
Okay. So what I'll do is I guess right now I'll go in like a clockwise order of the tokens. So Albert, so after you guys get your stuff settled in, you were to report to the administration district with to meet your temporary new boss, who I will share NPC art of. Oops, hold on. So yeah, you basically come into the police station and see the sheriff dressed up like Indiana Jones. Uh,
Oh yeah.
like yeah,
Nice.
they're all these like so you basically you walk into the sheriff's department and so you see you see like a couple of cops because like some like there aren't that many and some of them are out and about in the colony. Um, of the ones that are present, so you do see Sheriff Jones here, and you also do see in your case two familiar faces who I will share their tokens once I find them. So basically, one of them is her, and then another one is where is his art? Uh, this guy. So you would know. So the woman, Alexandra Espinoza, um, and the guy is Dustin Denham, and they see you enter, and you know, Alex does like a chin up, like sup nod, and Dustin gives you a little like salute, like, and when I say two finger salute, I mean like a regular salute with two fingers, not like British salute. Um, so they see you, they just you know gesture to you in like you know a, a cordial way, and sheriff turns around and sees you, and it's like, Sims, good to see you finally here. How are you getting settled in?
Just real quick, I would have known. I would have known both of them were going to be there,
Yeah,
right?
you specifically you use your favor with the company to get them set to Terra Nova ahead of time.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought.
So
So I'll say. So what's the sheriff's name again?
Wolf Jones.
Yeah, that's right. Was that the same art that I used for the other
Yes,
character?
that's
Okay,
what Robert made.
that's what I remember. Yeah, because I remember I used Wolf Blitzer. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, well, it's like just for context for like for everybody else is like there was a point where Mark Ramsey, his character, like he went on this like adventure in alien ruins, and then this other player was like, I'm going to call this adventure Mark Ramsey in the Lost City of Artemis, and then he shared that image that he photoshopped, and then Megas started using that as his actual picture, and so then the implication is that he's just going around the colony dressed up as Indiana Jones.
Oh, that's where you got that from.
Yep. So,
Yeah.
Love it.
Speaking of Indiana Jones, is that the guy from Dial of Destiny?
no, that's basically like Wolf Blitzer.
Yeah, no, that's not the one I'm talking about.
The other guy. That is the same actor, but not the same character.
No kidding. But okay, same actor.
Yeah. But anyway, um, but yeah, so basically the sheriff's saying, like, how are you getting settled in?
I'm getting settled in fine, Sheriff. I'm eager to get started.
He says, all right, good. So what he does, so basically he'll, give you like he'll be giving you a tour of the colony first, and then also explaining the situation. So he says that I'm going to be covering this in orientation, but um, I'm not sure if you got the memo about an issue the colony's been facing lately, and why you were called in.
Well, I've been briefed, of course, but any knowledge that you can have will certainly help me be more effective.
So he says, like, well, just as a little bit of a recap, and this also is basically for the sake of meta knowledge for the other players, is he goes on to describe that the colony has recently been dealing with periodic, um, not really raids, but like incursions by a group of, Russian mercenaries. And he says that they've, for the past few months, every so often they'll show up, cause some drama. They demand either tribute or basically the colony administrator Victor Croft as like essentially either as like a hostage or just so they can execute him. And obviously in every instance their requests are shut down, or well, demands rather. Their demands are shut down, and then they get uh, rather upset, and they make a scene that sometimes results in a few deaths, and then they fuck off. And we don't know who hired them. We don't know why they're doing this. We don't know, if they had like who their immediate superior is. We don't know what organization. And long story short, the good people of Terra Nova are fed up with the administration's inability to handle the matter, and uh, I put in a requisition for more security personnel as well as you know putting out incentives for colonists to step up and do their part. Um, but unfortunately, the people have been demanding change, and uh, that includes my position, which you'll be taking over.
And administration ineffective in dealing with the Russians. How very topical.
History never changes.
Yeah, yeah. Now that you mention it, that tracks. So, um, full disclaimer that was not a political statement. That did not cross my.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so, anyway, but yeah, they're believed to be a Russian mercenary unit rather than like actual Russian military forces. Um,
But
but
it could be deniable, plausible deniability.
that is, yeah. He says, the thought has occurred to me. Um, so he says, do you have any questions for me?
Yes, I'd like to know what measures you've taken for defense of the colony.
He says that what we've done is um, you know, well, I mean, in addition to like he said, putting out open recruiting for more security personnel, he put in a request for additional security personnel. But the problem is that the attacks have been kind of gradually whittling down the department to the point where there are currently only 8 officers. I mean, the colony didn't have that many to begin with because generally the size of a police department of some kind is determined by like the crime ratio. Like you could have like a really large city and only like a handful of cops if there aren't really that many like gang wars or just general criminal activity. Um, so he said, like, I mean, the colony was already off to a disadvantage before the attack started, but by this point we've only got 8 officers. Well, 9, well, 10 including you and I, and 8, you know, general like
Other
deputies.
people.
Yeah. So, um, so basically, yeah, that's like he's saying, and he also put out, there are incentives like sort of financial uh, benefits being offered to try to entice people to serve the colony, and he says that you know it's been proposed that the colonists, like at least some of the colonists, start receiving like defense training, like basically like I don't know if you guys heard of like there was something I read in the news like I think last night about like how Poland made some sort of initiative that all males will be receiving like military training in the event of an invasion. Like that's kind of the thing that like that solution has been proposed,
Oh.
but it hasn't been finalized relative to the colony here.
I think that's basically what I did in the other campaign, right? Because I was having people do like shooting training and all that
Oh
stuff.
yeah, I remember. Yeah. So well, that's basically
Yeah.
that's what the sheriff here is considering doing as well. I mean, well, he brought up the proposal, but you know, colony politics have been kind of you know it's been sort of dead in the water, especially due to the fact that um, there's not only has the general flow been kind of like slowed to a crawl, but also the fact that number one, the sheriff is being replaced, and also the colony admin is being replaced. So that's further
There's like
disrupt.
kind of decision and paralysis.
Pretty much, yeah. So he says that we do have a couple of initiatives in place, but as it stands right now, we that hasn't really gone anywhere. So we're hoping that or at least specifically like the higher ups who manage the colony above the immediate staff are hoping that and definitely the colonists as well are hoping that a change in administration might bring some fresh ideas to the table that might actually solve this problem.
Okay, the next thing I would ask is, okay, what's the equipment situation look like? What sort of weapons and other equipment do we have on hand?
The good news is that the armory is generously stocked. I mean, it's not enough to where if we were going to like turn the entire colony into a militia, for like as a more hyperbolic example, but it's not like there's only one gun per officer. I mean, you've got plenty of storm rifles, electrostatic weapons, um, stun batons, a couple of incinerator units for, I mean, mainly designated for defoliation purposes and like expanding the colony, but obviously they're flamethrowers, so make of that what you will. Like the weapon situation is fine. It's just the personnel situation is lacking.
What's the total population of the colony?
Um, as of the arrival of this pilgrimage, 941. The problem is that a lot of the jobs are like there isn't really much of an like. Well, first of all, you have to consider the population also includes like kids and teens who aren't old enough to join the workforce yet. But the colony
Most
does have
Weyland would have a problem with child soldiers.
um
Oh
what
God.
um but the thing is like what it meant is like colony.
Should I keep a running tally of how many
We're
times
getting off to a
child
good start.
soldiers
you're
were mentioned?
you're gonna
No,
lose
no,
count
it's
in
on.
no time. Don't even bother. But is
I'll say, hey, kid is a class and they have ability to dodge. So
Yeah, they
that's true.
classes.
Yeah, dodge the bullets. But anyway, um, the the colony, like basically what I was saying is that like a lot of the jobs, um, like there are roles that are like basically when the colonists there isn't. It's sort of like a 1-to-1 ratio for the most part between like available jobs and colonists to fill those roles. If that makes sense. So, I mean, the sheriff's saying that like again he's put out a proposal to arm or not arm but like train the colonists as well as to um try to encourage more people to shift gears um to the security division. But he says outside of bringing in additional personnel, it's been kind of an uphill battle.
yes, I can. I've heard it's a difficult situation. Um, it's it's good news that these attacks are lessening, but it could be the calm before the storm.
Yeah, he says, and the problem is that it's very hard to predict when they happen because I mean sometimes there's a month or more between attacks, and then sometimes it's a few weeks. So the last time they paid us a visit was about 2 weeks ago. So it's anyone's best guess when they're going to be returning.
What's the shortest interval between attacks?
Um, are you talking about like in terms of like previous raids that they
Yeah,
did?
yeah.
Um, the shortest interval was roughly. I mean, it was one instance, but it was also 2 weeks. But as he said, I mean, there isn't really a set pattern because sometimes it's like a few weeks, sometimes it's a few months.
Okay. That sounds. Hopefully, we won't have an incident very soon, but we'll have to be on guard.
I
What
agree.
what sort of sensor systems does the colony have? How early of a warning would we get if the a Russian raiding vessel enters the system?
Well, he says that's the questionable thing is that so the colony does have long range sensors like that basically can detect like ships within the system. Um, but the problem is that there haven't been ships coming back and forth. So he theorizes that they might have actually set up shop on the planet and they might be launching their attacks locally, but where they're coming from on planet is a different struggle entirely. But he says that um, you know, we are looking into that, and that's something you could potentially help with. Um, so there's that. So,
Interesting. Okay.
so my
And uh, maybe this is more meta knowledge. Are all the colonists in the system on this one planet, or is there like any stuff on the moons or asteroids or anything like
no,
that?
it's just all on not only on this planet but on this one continent.
And how spread out is everyone? Like, is it literally basically everyone is in the central colony, or there little like mining outposts, or what?
There are research outposts. Like there are mines because the planet has two main resources, very valuable rare earth resources that there are quarries for. Um, and I mean, generally the attacks occur in the colony itself because it's the bigger target. Um, it's big. It's for them, like he says that it's probably a better place to make a scene than just harassing some random, say, research outpost or something like that.
Interesting that they would attack the main colony instead of attacking more isolated um, locations that might be lightly defended. It seems perhaps they're trying to make their attacks more visible.
My thoughts exactly, he says, and also, I mean, and there is the possibility that they might not know where the outposts are.
Okay,
So
that's a good point. Yeah. I mean, I think like a mining would be fairly obvious, but yeah.
true, but I mean, it is a pretty big continent. So no telling. Um, anyway, so is there anything else you want to ask him right now, or are you fine with us switching scenes?
Yeah, I guess I'll just ask one other thing, which is what sort of scouting assets do we have? Do we have like drones that we can use to scout the, you know, local areas or other regions to try to search for this base? How have you been trying to search for them?
Um, he says that we do have, as you mentioned, drones, but the problem is that, um, you know, aerial drones over a jungle. I mean, the canopy is working against us. So if they're within the trees, you know, it's very hard to pinpoint where they are. And obviously, if the drones were flying under the canopy, it's much harder to navigate. So he says, I mean, that is something we have been doing. It's just that thus far it hasn't been successful. But he does say that prospecting teams are also unofficial scouts.
Okay, okay.
So
We can switch over. Thanks.
okay, cool. So so next we will go over to Conrad. What are you up to right now?
Conrad is going to see his superior
Okay.
to get the general layout of the land. But before that, I just wanted to ask the general knowledge: is this colony completely funded by Weyland Core, or is it like Hadley's Hope half and half?
Um, I would say it was probably founded by by Wayland Corps itself because the colonists come from various sources. I mean, nationality wise,
Hmm.
like it's basically the kind of thing where like Wayland Corps founded it because the planet is very profitable and they were able to pay the cost of getting it up and running. So they have complete say
Hmm.
um,
Okay.
over it. No, I mean obviously it's a case of like, for example, if the colony was like genuinely like invaded by a foreign power, then obviously like say the U.S. military or even like the United Nations Interplanetary Corps could intervene. But in terms of like actually managing the colony and funding and stuff, Wayland Corps completely calls the shots.
Okay. Okay. Good to know. So he'll just continue to meet his superior
Okay.
and see what's the situation
So,
like.
as it stands, I don't have a name for the guy because the reason
No
why is
problem.
because my line of thinking is that eventually, obviously, the PCs are going to be Albert's already lined up to be part of the command staff, and as is Blitz's character, but and probably your character as well, depending on the circumstances. But as of
He
right now,
definitely wants to, but
yeah. Well, I
he
mean,
won't
yeah.
say that out
We'll
loud.
see. Yeah, we'll see where that goes. But as it stands right now, I don't really have a name for the guy. So, um, actually, well, hold on. I'll because there's a name I was thinking of earlier. Let me just check because I wrote down some like generic names. Um, okay, I'll use this. So the guy's name is Aiden Duval.
Okay.
Um, I'll make a note of that. So yeah, Mr. Duval, he's in the office and then he sees you enter and he says, you must be Conrad.
Yes, that's me, Conan Bass. Uh, a pleasure to meet you.
And he shakes his hand and
I
says,
came for the
Aiden
briefing.
Duval, good to meet you. Um, and he says, well, welcome to the workspace. I assume you're familiar with what you'll be doing here, which out of character is, like mid-level administration, like record keeping and correspondence
Hmm.
with the company, yada yada yada, like boring administrative shit. Um,
Yes,
so
of course. I'm very well aware of my responsibilities here. Uh, but if I may, I wanted to ask you what is the general situation? What do we have to specifically focus on? Are there any things that we need to know?
um, well, when you say that, are you referring to like situations in the colony, or like just specifically within this department?
Uh, Basically within the colony and the planet, what is the general situation? Any environmental hazards? Any that are not already like character knowledge?
Oh,
Any
okay.
specifics about the colony with projects that are being done or specific technical issues with
Okay.
each department that can use some help? That kind of
All right. So
boring
basically,
administrative
well, some
things.
of the stuff he'll tell you is when you say like environmental dangers, for example, occasionally the colony, I mean, courtesy of Koi 416D being a very Earth-like planet and like specifically a tropical and water world sort of environment. He says like in terms of environmental conditions, like the worst we deal with is the odd tropical storm. Um, but it's generally not. I mean, worst case scenario, it leaves a mess, maybe a little bit of structural damage that gets resolved within a few days. Um, but it's there isn't like a ton of. I mean, the planet itself isn't trying to kill us, which is good.
A
As
miracle
for
in of itself. That's
yep,
lovely.
and in terms of other points of interest, he says, I don't know if you know I guess you could call it the political situation with the colony.
No, I haven't been briefed of that.
So basically, yeah, he goes on to describe like tying into what the sheriff was saying to Albert of like he doesn't necessarily go into the full depth on the situation of the Russians, but it basically says that due to the colony being harassed by this like mercenary outfit every so often, there's been demands from the colonists, petitions not only to the local government but to company higher ups to well, not direct, like basically. So what he's saying is that they're the colonists have been demanding change because the current colony admin hasn't done a good job at handling the situation. He says that um, you know at least the first few times that the Marauders attacked, that the colony admin, Mr. Croft, did basically the worst thing he could have done and actually gave into their demands and like paid them. But the problem is that it turned into a please don't feed the bears situation because then they kept coming back for more. Um,
Oh my.
and yeah, basically he says that the colonists have been complaining. There have been like protests and strikes. and eventually, the feedback reached our current, corporate director, Audrey Lattimore, and she reported this to higher ups in the company, and they approved the petition for changing the colony M, and so there's going to be um, an election um, to appoint a new colony administrator.
Seems like these are quite dynamic times for the colony, but
Indeed.
I, I hope that the mercenary pirate situation or whatever gets resolved soon. We seem to. I've met the new. Um, I've met new personnel that came aboard with me, so it seems that we will have fresh supplies of new faces. Maybe they can bring some needed different perspectives.
Yeah, well, he says that from what I recall, I don't know who it was that was replacing him, but our sheriff is going to be retiring, and a new guy who arrived on the 9th is going to be taking his place. And
Oh.
as for the as for the colony admin, so there's going to be there's already one candidate who thus far is sort of running unopposed, but um, there is somebody else who was brought in as part of the 9th, who is eligible to also run if he so chooses. And out of character, he's referring to Blitz's character. Um,
Hmm.
he's not mentioning him by name because again he doesn't remember who, but that's who he's implicitly referring to. But he's saying that there's another guy who's going to be you know running for office as well. There's going to be, from what I've heard, a political debate in the next 2 weeks, and then the actual election 2 weeks from then, so 4 weeks from now.
Oh, that'll be an interesting thing to come and see. I'll be glad to watch the debate and see uh, who our new administrator will be. It's interesting that we have new arrivals that are also vying for the position. That that could probably mean that they are not really so certain with anyone who's been here in that district. Uh, that might be something to keep an eye on. How have they been treating the rest of our departments here? Have they, except for the pirate situation, have they generally been handling the other day-to-day duties of the colony correctly, or
Yeah, I
have there been
mean,
problems?
are you referring to the current administration or somebody
Yes.
else? Okay. Well, in terms of like actually keeping the colony running on like a day-to-day basis, that part at least has been going well. Um, like people like for I mean, other than the issue with the Marauders, I mean, life goes on. It's all been pretty decent thus far. Um,
Okay.
so there
That's
hasn't been a huge issue there, thankfully.
I'm glad to hear that. Besides those marauders, that nothing else is of note. That's actually quite quite good for such a ambitious project as uh, our Terra Nova colony here. To have something so mundane and boring is a blessing. So let's hope it stays that way. Um, are there anything? Is there anything else specifically, or that we need to know how to approach specifically regarding the other districts?
Like the other
Unless,
departments,
yes.
for the most part, no. Well, actually, he does say um, something of note that in terms of another sort, like there is kind of he thinks about he kind of backpedals a bit on what he said about the departments because he does say that um, there is there are I mean, the departments and like the administration, it's kind of a mixed bag because, as he said, the colony admin and the sheriff are both, they definitely are not very popular, courtesy of their, mismanagement of the whole, Marauder situation. But he does say that outside of that, um, the even just looking past that, the current administration is kind of a mixed bag in terms of approval. Um, because on one hand, you have the union steward Sky Henderson, who is genuinely cares for the people, and as a result, they support her because she's the one that serves as their voice in the higher ups. Um, and also the science advisor Jason Carradine, or Jace as he unofficially goes by. Mr. Carradine is, he's the head of the chief science officer, and he is actually quite popular with his department. But then on the other hand, in terms of the prospector general, Brett Winslow, he on the other hand, like his approval is at best neutral because he doesn't really, I mean, he doesn't really care that much. He just like he brings in results, but not really frequently. I mean, my personal take is that he just
Mhm.
kind of views this as more of a job than an adventure. And then uh,
Damn, that's
the
horrifying.
chief engineer, uh, Mr. Havelock, he is, um, he's not especially, from what I hear, he's not especially popular with the engineering teams because I mean, he gets results, he keeps the colony running, um, but worker well-being, as far as I can tell, is not really a priority to him.
Hmm.
So
No, noted. But
yeah.
there hasn't been any accidents or something like that. God forbid.
Um, Occasionally so, but it's not, frequent enough to where like attention gets called to it. Like where like but when
Hmm.
I say attention gets called to it, I mean like where people are saying like, yeah, we got to get rid of this guy as well. And he does. I mean, as stated prior, he part of the reason he stays in his position as one of the members of the command staff is because um he he keeps the place running, in terms of mechanically, and honestly, the company doesn't really seem to care as long as they get results.
Hmm. Okay, so that's good to know. That's good to know that we don't have any huge number of problems there regarding the health of our uh, employees here, which is of course very well and dear to Weyland Core, which we all know. It's good that the accidents aren't outside of the standard Weyland parameters there, so that our medical officers won't be overburdened there. Good. Thank you. Thank you. I will remember all of those things. I will make a note to uh, get to know all of the heads of the departments here, so we can make sure that this turning over a new leaf goes without a hitch. Uh, if there's anything you need from me, please tell me.
Of
I
course.
will gladly go up and beyond to make sure that Terra Nova succeeds in its mission. I will gladly be the liaison necessary, of course, over and beyond my standard work schedules. But if there's also any need for helping with the communications technologies, or I don't know if you have plans for any uh, future satellite launches with what you've said about the marauders, pirates, mercenaries, whatever. If there is a need to track them down with getting the right tech up and ready for that. I do have some Comtech experience as well that I bring over from my previous affiliations. So I'll be glad to help wherever missing hands are needed.
And Duvall like nods to you and says, I appreciate the enthusiasm, and if that should, if what you were saying does prove to be the case, I'll get in touch with you. So, basically, yeah. Are there any other questions you have or anything you want to do in this scene, or do you want to jump over to Simone?
Yeah, he won't. He'll just nod,
Yeah.
thank there for the time, and he'll just continue probably somewhere to go and eat at a cafeteria.
All right. So, well, yeah, and well, I will say that like I guess you can do that, but like it'll like fade to black as he's like giving you a tour around the
Yeah.
place because basically you just walked in and met him and talked to him, and then he'll be like actually showing you around the office, like getting you acquainted with some of the employees and stuff like that. So while that's going
Okay.
on, we there's a dissolve. We head over to Simone. You are currently like basically you make your way to the prospector, like you know like command, not really command center, but like the offices for the prospecting department. And
Yeah.
you see a guy there who is, I actually do have art for him. So let's see, where's command staff? Um, so it's basically this guy. You see this guy, um, you know, like not really nose deep in a data pad, but like he's obviously doing something. But you see on his name tag on his uniform that it has B Winslow, which you would know as Brett Winslow, the head of the prospecting department. So this is the guy you would report to.
Okay. Yeah, I'll head into the office and I guess knock on the door to get his attention.
Okay.
It's
He looks up for a sec and like he sees you and is like, oh, hello, and then is still looking down at his data pad and says, what can I do for you?
Well, Winslow, is it? It's nice to meet you. Uh, Simone Kowalski. Just got on planet, and I understand you're the guy in charge here.
Mm-hmm. So he gives like the he says that so and then he says, I mean, again, still looking down, working on his data pad. He says, and I assume then you are one of the new hires for the prospecting department.
Yes, indeedy.
This is
So, tell me, how's stuff work around here?
so he says that and I'll say, like, obviously if it isn't clear by now that your character wasn't present for what Duvall was saying to Conrad, but you definitely by this point like that it kind of aligns with the fact that yeah, he just does not get, like, this is just sort of like a chore to him. He doesn't have the same enthusiasm for prospecting that you did, like that you do. Um,
Yeah.
so like if that isn't already obvious, I'm just pointing that out. But he does um, say in terms of how things work that you will be, we have a couple of different teams of prospectors who, are searching, exploring various regions of Koi 416D. You will be assigned to one of those teams. They, they head out, every, once every couple of weeks. Um, the most recent exposition, like the team that you are going to be assigned to, just recently got back from a survey. So next time they go out, you're going to be joining that team, and you'll be out in the field for like 1 to 3 weeks. Um, but for now, you've got downtime because there's going to be the orientation tomorrow for the new colonists and yada yada yada. He said, and he outright says that. But so
Yada yada yada. The best part.
Well,
Exactly.
yeah, the best. Well, I'm glad to be a part of this, and uh, anything else I need to know about, prospecting or anything about, koi numbers? I don't
Um,
remember the numbers,
it's
the designation.
416D. So, and the D, at least in this case, I mean, I think there
416D.
might be, I think there might be an official designation for it, but if so, it's not coming off the top of my head. But the reason it's Koi
That's
416D, so
fine.
the star is 416, and D is this is the fourth planet from that star. So, just a little bit of a reference for why it's named that way. Um,
Oh,
so,
interesting.
again, I don't know if that's necessarily canonically accurate, but that's what I'm going with in lieu of something official. Anyway, but he does say that you know anything else you should know. He says you know be forewarned. It's honestly very boring because I mean there haven't been any charted you know alien life forms, probably never, but we the main thing that the prospectors around here do is we're searching for new reserves of natural resources. Whether that's oil or um, you know, mineral resources or potentially a good place to set up a second colony, that sort of thing. So,
I mean, little things. I mean, isn't that all kind of what we signed up for? Whatever we find, it's gonna be huge regardless. So I
so
know that the enthusiasm is it's the brightest thing in this room right now because looks like they need to change the bulbs, but
A beautiful
regardless.
working environment.
yeah. Um, so he um, well he says well I'll tell you what, why don't you go spread that enthusiasm and meet the rest of your team. So and he'll say if there aren't any other questions, then there he gives directions like down the hall to the left kind of thing. Um,
Yeah, of
so
course.
but that does mean like out of character. Like if you do have any other questions, you can ask.
Yeah. None really spring to mind at the moment, but I'll bring them up if I remember them, if I think of any.
Okay.
But yeah, let's go meet the team.
So all right. So then there's another sort of fade to black where I mean, and again, in terms of NPCs, it's like they're not really significant enough to have like names and art and so
Yeah,
on. They're just kind of
that's
background
fine.
characters. So, but yeah, you go off to meet them. So I'll say by this point, because you arrived midday, after basically after you meeting your team, Conrad, doing stuff, and then Albert, getting a tour from the sheriff. By now it's like the evening shift. So, um, what do you guys? I mean, do you want to like meet up for dinner, or do you want to just go straight home, or you want to explore the colony in general? Like, what do you want to do?
I think Albert would be interested in building connections with various people
Oh, okay.
who could sort of keep him informed about what's going on.
Okay. Well, the best
So I
place
would
to do
certainly
that.
be
Oh,
open, like from a role playing perspective, right? I would be open to like being in character friends with the other PCs for that reason.
okay. I will point out if you mentioned NPCs, like if you want to do, I mean, there is a colony bar, um, in the residential district, which I mean basically would be like a 10-minute walk from your housing unit.
Conrad will certainly be there because he also wants to get to know everyone who's anyone important, especially with the NPCs, but of course, then later getting to mix with our PCs, even better to see uh, who's up for what.
I would
Okay.
definitely want to meet with Alexandra and Dustin, and that could probably be at the bar.
Okay. So you want to summon them to hang out at the bar with you? Okay.
I want to
Um,
get like the situation report from them, sort of thing.
okay. So I'll bring us over to the bar, the local bar. You would have found out is the Aurora, and it's owned and operated by a fellow named Mick Garvey. So basically, yeah, you guys enter the bar. Is there any preference of like who wants to show up first? Because I know Albert wanted to meet with his cronies, but I don't know if anybody else wanted to get there first.
I think, yeah, it could make sense that maybe Albert is there first.
Okay.
I think Conrad will take a while with the tour until he comes. So I think, yeah, they'll definitely not be there immediately when Albert is talking with
Okay.
his fellow
Yeah, I
So
friend.
wouldn't. I wouldn't go on like a full tour yet because I'm trying to focus on my area.
all right. So all right. So basically, yeah, um I'll say you get a seat here. So basically, when you enter the bar, um, so one thing of note is so the place is pretty packed in the evening. Um, you hold on, let me just make so yeah, some tokens here. So these are just kind of nondescript colonists. As you know, and there is actually live music, and what's interesting is that I would say you actually not personally, but like one of those like oh I've heard her play or seen her or heard about her that kind of thing. There is actually like an established, well, at least formerly established singer by the name of Selena Baxter who's actually performing here. Um, so there's that, and then basically at the bar you have the bartender down here. You haven't spoken to him yet, but Mecca's down here, and then there's one of the employees working the bar, some people at the bar, so on and so forth. So it's pretty busy, packed place. Um, and you have like music playing, people chattering. So you're sitting at this table. I'll just move you like over here, and then you have um, your two right hands over here that they see you. You wave them over, and they come sit down. So uh, Dawson's like, "Hey, boss, how are you getting settled in?"
Well enough. You know how these colonies are.
So
I'm interested to know what's been going on. How long have you two been here?
um, out of character, I don't think we established that. I would say probably maybe. They would have probably gotten here on the pilgrimage, which just as a recap for everybody, a pilgrimage is the term they use for like groups of colonists to get brought to this colony. Um, they were probably brought aboard the 8th. You all are in the ninth, so that's a period of like several months. So they've definitely had some time to be established here.
Okay, so I guess maybe the backstory is like they were assigned here and then I was assigned, but I already knew that they were here, sort of
Yeah,
thing, rather
exactly.
than
Bingo. Because
maybe I directed them.
yeah, because basically what happened is, when you were serving at Ruby Colony, like, so based on your actions there, um, you basically, Weyland Corps, like they reached out to you, or like, hey, we want you to go to Terra Nova once the marshal there retires. But obviously, because you're doing such a like both because of your contract and because you're doing such a good job here at Ruby Colony, you're going to
They
finish
weren't
out your
ready to
term.
send me yet.
Yeah, they're not ready to send you, but you could easily maneuver to have Alexandra and Dustin get sent ahead of you. So
Okay,
they're
okay,
established, and then once you finish your term at Ruby Colony, you get sent to Terra Nova.
okay, that makes sense. Yeah, so I tell them, all right, you've been here for a few months. What have you learned? What's the situation that they're not telling me?
So, um, Alexandra just kind of, she has her arm, like hand sitting on the table, just kind of like, flares them out slightly. It's like, well, I'm pretty sure Jones told you, talked you off with the situation of the colony. I don't know if he mentioned to you the fact that the colony admin actually, um, you know, word has it that he actually gave into the Marauders' demands at first, which is probably the reason why they're still attacking. And the sheriff did not mention that to you.
The administrator gave in, or the
The
sheriff did?
no, the administrator. Like basically, like the sheriff, said that well, it was more of a case of exact words. Like the sheriff said, he did not um, give in to the Marauders' demands, but the problem is that the colony administrator, Mr. Croft, he did. And that's pretty much part of that heavily contributes to the reason they're attacking is because the colony admin actually did give in to their demands and basically gave them the impression that like, okay, we can just keep coming here, picking on the colony
Right.
and get paid. So
These are easy targets.
yeah, like they got a taste of it and they're back for more. So um, so yeah, Alexander does say that like I'm sure the sheriff. I mean, he didn't. I'm almost positive he didn't mention that to you, but yeah, that is a thing that he actually did pay these marauders. I mean, not pay. I mean, obviously not pay them to attack, but when they showed up, started shooting up the place, and said, it's going to get bloodier if you don't pay us. He actually paid them. So that's probably the reason they're still attacking us.
So at this point, I would probably be cursing, and I would say, damn weakling. These people. This is always what happens when you put, people with no courage in power, or no will to do what's necessary.
Yeah, Alexander's like, yeah, no kidding. Um, so, she, she also adds, like, did you hear about the election? That there's going to be a debate in 2 weeks and then an election in 4 weeks to get a new
I've
colony
heard a little
admin.
bit about it. Seems like all the political players are lining up to get their share of the pie.
Yeah. Because she says that there's this one candidate who is, you know, who's actually, well, currently he's running unopposed. Um, but from what I've heard, he's ex-military. He also served in Somalia.
Who is this other guy who's running right now?
So she says, and I'm trying to say this with a straight face, but I'm failing. The guy's mainly because I'm thinking of Emily here. The guy's name is Steve Stevenson, and he unofficially goes by his wartime nickname Whiskey.
Oh God.
um,
There's got like a Aaron Aronson
We'll share that
situation
story
going on.
later, guy.
but yeah, she says like, yeah, you know, he, he seems pretty. I mean, can't say I agree with all of his policies and campaign promises, but um, he definitely seems to have more initiative than Croft does, at least.
What's the story with this Stevenson guy? What's his current position, and what's he advocating for?
So he is, because out of character, I kind of didn't think like what he was doing initially, but I mean, I would assume that he was probably like after, his situation probably parallels yours, where like you were originally, like a corporate, um, like not necessarily, well, I mean, enforcer, correct me if I'm wrong, but and then you kind of rose to a more like a bigger position of power. Like he was basically he after he served in Somalia during the Axis War, he was picked up by the company, and then similar to you, and this is something Alexandra was explaining, that he was you know picked up by the company and kind of rose in their influence. He got to Terra Nova, and then kind of like what they were saying with Blitz's character, is a case of like, hey, you're eligible to potentially become the next colony admin. So,
Okay, so I would based on that background, I would probably see this guy as a rival potentially.
oh, absolutely. I mean, he's not a rival in your department. Like
Right.
you're the sheriff, but this guy could potentially be the colony admin.
Right, but it's like I know his type, like
Yeah,
because
no, yeah,
I'm
totally.
also that type, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like he's basically like a counterpart to you.
Cool. So,
So,
like, what's and maybe you haven't thought of this, and that's fine. But like, what are his like? What's the big message that he's running on?
um, I actually did think about this. But his general strategy is essentially like, peace through power. Like he wants to sort of I mean, honestly, with a certain other corrupt politician, Terra Nova first.
Make the
You know,
colony safe again.
yeah, exactly, exactly. So, make Terra Nova safe again. So he, um, he basically, yeah, that's basically like he's projecting himself like as wanting to make Terra Nova like more I got I'm blanking on the word, like more sort of
Militarized.
fortified. Yeah, well, that too, like based on his military background and wanting to,
Make it more tough.
yeah, pretty much like he wants to strengthen it, have like bolster the armed forces and stuff. But the problem is that and this is something that Alexandra kind of weighs in on with a little bit of personal bias, is saying that that kind of comes at the cost of everything else, because he's talking about like wanting to lower the age, like from what I'm hearing, like lower the age requirement for people to serve in the security team, which would then
Hey,
mean,
child soldiers. There we
yeah,
go.
exactly, that he wants to lower the age, um, which would then mean that the youth of Terra Nova that wouldn't be old enough to serve, well, old enough to serve or old enough to have a job in, like, say, administration or prospecting or what have you, they would be old enough by his law to serve in the colony security forces. So, like, that's part of his plan, and it's kind of, uh, yeah, not to my liking. And then Dustin chimes in like, speak for yourself, Alex.
Okay, so I think, you know, I would definitely. So I don't. So I would say, well, it sounds like this Joker uh, will be encroaching on my turf if he gets in a position of power. That could be a problem.
Yeah. And Dustin's like, so what are you going to do?
Well, right now there's no one else running. I've heard reports that there might be some other people interested. It really depends on who they are and if they're willing to, let's say, cooperate with me.
So, yeah, well, and you know, Alexandra says like, well, I mean, worst case scenario, you got us. So, not that we really have any kind of political pull, but I mean, other than voting against this Fuddrucker. So,
Politics is ultimately a popularity contest, and there's many things that can be done to increase or decrease popularity, especially for those in a position of authority like ourselves.
so yeah, and then basically the two of them grin because they look at each other, then they look at you, and they kind of like the direction that this is going, even though they might not necessarily know what specifically you got in mind, but they definitely like the gist of the conversation. So what I'll say in terms of timing is like you can potentially continue this conversation, but I'll say about this time is when uh, the other two PCs arrive. So drag Simone and Conrad. I mean, you could either arrive together or like a couple of minutes apart, whichever.
If Conrad sees someone, he will wave at her and just like go. So you're coming to meet the locals as well?
Yeah. I mean, why not?
Well, actually, I should have.
We're
I
gonna be
totally
here a
forgot.
while. Might as
You
well
guys you
make
both wanted to come to the
connections.
bar, right? Because I'm not going
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
volunteer you. I just couldn't remember if you actually were planning to go there or not. But if so, that's fine. So, okay. So yeah, you guys show up at the bar, looking around the place. Um, I mean, I guess I'll leave it up to
Conrad
Albert if you want your kind of dealings to be in the background, be inconspicuous. Um, if that is the case, do speak up.
Conrad will probably notice
Well,
Albert.
I'm just asking him if he's trying to like sort of blend in. or not?
Am I trying to blend in? No, I mean, I'm meeting with deputies. Like, I wouldn't be trying to be hiding. I think we would be speaking in hushed,
Okay, well,
voices.
yeah, because I'm just asking you if it's a case of like you would or would not want the other two PCs to potentially show up and join you.
I mean, I wouldn't be necessarily expecting it, but as long as my meeting with Alexandra and Dustin was done, I would be fine with them joining, and I'll be like, hey, Alexandra, Dustin, we'll discuss this more later.
Okay, yeah, you can do that if you want. But yeah, so if that's the case, so Conrad and Simone,
Yeah,
basically
if they want to join me, that's fine. That's
yeah.
what I'm saying.
Okay, so but yeah, like you basically as you're looking around the bar, kind of taking in the sight, you see, the bar stools, people like a couple people at the bar itself, two guys working at the bar. You actually do take note of, of at least, at one point in time, a famed English musician, Selena Baxter, who's on stage performing. Uh, and then you do actually see, you're one of your housemates and two people you have not seen before.
We would all be in like the security uniforms though, so you could
Okay.
probably figure it out.
Oh, yeah, okay. So,
Conrad will just kind of nod to himself, like understanding what Albert then implied in the first meeting. But seeing Albert, Conrad will just put on a friendly smile and wave at him and like, "Oh, hi! Uh, I'll be joining you to talk how things have been going. I just wanna get a drink first." He kind of shouts over the distance. Do you want anything for me to pick up for you?
So I will first sort of indicate to Alexandra and Dustin, and I'll be like, the work begins, or the job begins, and I'll sort of like indicate to them that they can leave.
okay. So they
And
nod to
I'll
you and they get up. So,
yeah. And I'll say to Conrad, my colleagues were just leaving. Just give me whatever the local standard beer is. Might as well try
Will
it now.
do.
so
Simone, do you want me to pick up anything for you as well, since I'm going over to the bar?
Sure, a beer. That's fine.
So.
I'll
Okay. I'll be joining you in a few just to get those drinks.
So, all right. So you go over to the bar, and then you see the bartender here, and he says, like Australian accents, like, I don't think I've seen your face around here before. What can I get you?
If you could get us 3 of your standard beers here. Do you have the Aspen beer, or do you have something else
Oh,
local?
we got something better. He says that he
Oh,
goes on to
nice.
tell you that there's um, a local, so the planet, I mean, it doesn't have any, indigenous animal life, but it does have fruit and stuff. And he basically goes on to say that, our finest brew is made with an indigenous fruit that has, he describes it like a very sugary, sweet taste like fruit punch, but it also has kind of a kick to it. Um,
Sounds lovely.
yeah.
I've never tried
So,
alien drinks before.
yeah.
Please,
So,
get us some.
all right. So he snaps his fingers and points at you, and then he'll go prepare the drinks. It'll just be like, basically it takes like a minute or two to get it made, and he says, you know, 3 drinks, and then in terms of uh price of drinks in the core book, I think it's like $4 for standard beer. But then again, fine liquor is or hard liquor is um I'll just say in this case because it's just like like a shot or so. It's like 20 20 per because the core rulebook prices are kind of elevated, so to speak.
Of course.
So
So it's 20 per. I'm
times
getting
3, so
3
60.
drinks. Oh, it will not be 60. But before he pays, he will just kind of strike up a conversation with the bartender as you usually do, trying to get the lay of the land, like trying to see if does anything interesting ever happen around here. I mean, I've heard about these um, pirate raids or mercenaries. I don't know what they're called, but other than that, are there any other interesting things
He
happening around here?
says, nothing like as of lately, like as of late, nothing really springs to mind. There's been there. I mean, there's the whole talk of the election coming up, political debate in 2 weeks, and then because he doesn't realize that you
Oh,
probably already know this. It's because again he says he doesn't recognize you, so um, he does. He
he's
basically just kind of
listening
he just
completely.
reiterates what
Yeah, informed.
was said about the debate because I don't remember if you actually knew that. Um,
He was told that there's a debate coming, but he will be a bit more interested in the people who will be there at the debate. So basically, he is trying to get up to speed with what
oh,
Albert,
okay,
the character, knows about the other
right, okay.
the one that is unopposed for now,
Oh, like
because
about whiskey. Um,
yeah,
so
whiskey.
so basically, he, I'll just say for simplicity that he'll run you through the same stuff about, you know, about fucking whiskey, and
Hmm.
we'll say that it was also a little bit of trivia about the debate. He says it's going to be like hosted by the Union steward Sky Henderson. Um,
Oh,
so um,
how's the Union steward getting along with everyone?
he
Another character
says,
Bass is really gonna be interested with the
yeah,
Union steward.
potential somebody to corrupt. The so he does say that Miss Henderson is probably one of only two people in the current command structure who is actually still liked by the colonists. Because I mean, even though he says he just sort of like shakes his head and says like, let's face it, she doesn't really have that much power, but um, the people still love her for her efforts of trying to advocate for their well-being and so on and so forth, especially when other members of the command team are actively working against her.
Oh, in what way?
Well, he says that you know uh, the chief engineer Royce Havelock, Havelock, like he isn't very popular with, which by the way, speaking of, that's a combination of two different villain names and you know fiction, but anyway, not implying he's a villain, but he basically says that Mr. Havelock hasn't really been um, looking out for his workers, whereas Miss Henderson has. So he says that you know there's a bit of a feud between them where um, basically Mr. Havelock views uh, Henderson's efforts as as both a threat to his own position as well as to the productivity of the colony.
Oh, a man focused on productivity. I understand.
Like
Yes, but
he's hell driven to do his job and get results, and he doesn't really care about like any effort. Well, I mean, he does care obviously in stopping any effort trying to intervene with that. So he and Miss Henderson don't really get along.
too bad. If only they realized that they have a common goal there, but the tensions always rise in times like these. I'm sure that they will find a way to see eye to eye in due time.
It says I
But
doubt it. They've been button heads for as long as I can remember.
uh, probably they just need a fresh set of eyes to display to them the different perspectives that they have, but that can be all directed towards a common goal. Well, yeah. Well, I will really like to get to know them to see what is they because they seem to have quite a reputation about them as of now. Okay. Thanks. And what is your name, good sir?
He says, Mick Garvey, what's yours?
McGarvey. I'm Conrad Bass. I am here on the ninth shipment of new faces here. So me and a bunch of other people we're here to help and to make sure that Terra Nova keeps on going and getting better. Thanks for the drinks, though. And he will. How much can he tip without it being without it being too much in the sense of like suspiciously too much? But what I'm getting at
Um,
basically, he wants to give like I like 120 or whatever, but to basically whisper to him like, um, I'm I'm quite curious and social about if you ever have any gossip or anything of the like. Be
I mean,
sure to keep
obviously, I
an ear out
mean,
for me.
yeah, I mean, he's the fucking
Something like that.
bartender. Basically, he knows, about pretty much everything that's going on in this colony. So, the more
So
you
but
tip him, the
basically,
friendlier he'll be to you.
yeah, he out of character. I'm trying to see. I don't know if I need to roll for manipulation or if I need to do something else. Basically, he's trying to get on the best side of the bartender that he can.
I mean, you don't need to do a roll for it. It's just depending on how much. I mean, I would say, I mean, I don't really have like a mechanic or a number or anything like that in
Yeah,
mind
yeah,
for
but
what would be fair. It's just, I mean, as long as you're not paying him like $4, then
no, no, no,
uh,
no, no,
Do like
because
a
yeah, it,
manipulation roll or something.
well, but the thing is, I mean, I mentioned this to him earlier. It's like you generally, I don't really have players roll unless there's like a risk for failing.
yeah. That
Well, the
that
risk here
does
is
make
that the bartender would be put off, right?
Um, well, I mean, you're the one who wanted to do it, Greg. What do you think?
I'll maybe I'll leave it to not to start too hastily with the rolls and stuff like that.
Okay.
I'll just do the I will give him 120
Okay,
basically.
that's
And
generous, and I mean, that's
yeah,
like
I'll,
double the
I'll
cost of the drink. So he says, "Well, aren't you the generous one?"
I want to make sure that everything here is good for all of us. So
Indeed, it
I'm
will be.
new.
He says as he
Thanks
pockets the money.
for the
He says,
conversation. Yeah,
"Enjoy your drinks." And then
thanks. And
he
he
and then
gives a wink and
yeah,
goes back to the rest of his crew.
yeah, and then he basically, and then like as it's going, you hear one of the people at the bar's like, "Hey, bartender," and like just trying to get his attention for another drink, and then Garvey like rolls his eyes and goes off to deal with him. So you come back with your drinks over to your buddies. Um, so you got a tray of some fruity drinks even with the little umbrellas and everything.
Conrad will explain that these are specialty drinks from the colony itself, made from the local fruit. So gear up to taste something that's literally out of this world.
Shit, I should have used that as like a tagline for him, like pitching the.
He passes the drink to everyone and says, "Two new acquaintances," and cheers to everyone here at the table, and
Cheers.
takes a nice
Yeah.
sip.
Yeah.
Cheers.
It's a very I mean, as I described it earlier, like has a very like sweet, sugary, fruity kind of taste, but it definitely has kind of a kick to it. It's like, oh my, very intense flavor, then like aftertaste and all. I mean, it's very good. Basically. Um,
Nice.
so
I'm gonna like it here.
yep.
Conrad just kind of says under his voice. The beer is fantastic. So, how was your day? What were you all up to today?
Simone, you want to go first?
Well, oh, sure. Well, I met the guy in charge of the prospecting group or whatever you want to call it. Mr. Winslow, he's oh, if I'm being honest, he didn't act like he really liked his job that much. I guess it, I don't know, might be going to this with really high hopes about, the colony, but hey, we're in the middle of space, man. It's
Yeah, that's a
I don't know.
shame. Well, why wouldn't he be excited? There's a whole planet for uh, your fellow crew to explore and plunder to your heart's content. I mean, there is so much you could find here. Why wouldn't he be excited? That seems rather peculiar. Maybe your fresh
Eh,
perspective will be able to inspire the department again to have more faith that they'll find something of value here.
well, I mean, we're always finding valuable things. I mean, natural resources and whatnot. And ah, I don't know. Maybe I'm just, still looking at the job with rose-colored glasses. But it's fascinating, man. I grandparents, my parents, they were all explorers, and well, hey, now I'm exploring a new colony, new place. It's
Oh, so you're
you know
continuing the family business.
kind
How
of
how
boring work,
nice. It's
more
well,
or less.
well, what I've heard, it's boring until it's mostly boring until you find something big, and then things change for that individual's life forever if they find a valuable enough resource vein of rare minerals or other types of deposits. So, I mean, I've heard it's a gamble, but it's it's something that definitely has to be respected, and uh, we without that sort of things, we wouldn't be able to create these kind of colonies. So the company is definitely very grateful for prospectors like that. So keep the spirits up. I think that there will definitely be reasons to be optimistic. And as
Yeah,
Conrad
yeah, of
glances over,
course. Uh, uh how was your whatchamacallit? Uh,
oh well, I've met my company representative, my uh, a senior position
orientation.
here. Yes,
There we
and
go. There's the word.
they were quite they were quite a sight. They're nothing too out of the ordinary, except that I've been hearing these strange reports of some uh, marauders, mercenaries. I don't know what I'd call them, pirates. That they have been causing some trouble for the colony here. But other than that, everything seems to be going smoothly. I just hope that I just hope that our safety won't be compromised by a few scoundrels trying to steal something valuable that they see. Though I don't know, something like piracy like that has always existed. So I'm sure I'm sure our forces will be able to find a way to deal with that. And as Conrad kind of glances over to Albert and seeing him in uniform, he just kind of auspiciously goes, "Oh, and I see that we have a fellow security member amongst us already. Uh, Albert, are you a new deputy there to help the local authorities?"
I'll sort of laugh as I'm drinking. I'll say, not exactly a deputy.
Oh no, no. Sorry. Then, what am I not recognizing the uniform specifics? I haven't been too much around security personnel.
So I think I'm trying to think if I guess if it's so it's common knowledge that somebody is replacing the sheriff, right? But it's not known exactly who. Is
Yeah,
that
it
right?
wasn't exactly announced like who specifically, but I mean, everybody at Terra Nova knows that due to Sheriff Jones's unpopularity and his perceived inability to stop the mercenaries, he's going to be replaced. It just hasn't been declared who is replacing him.
Okay. So I think I will choose to try to include both Simone and Conrad in my into my confidence here. So I will say, um, well, it's not supposed to be announced yet, but can both of you? Can I trust both of you with some private information?
Of course, my lips are sealed.
Yeah, of course.
So, as you may know, our current sheriff has done, shall we say, a less than exemplary job at protecting this colony and ensuring its prosperity. I've been appointed, and I will be taking over colonial security in the next few days.
Oh, so you'll be our new sheriff. Well, nice to meet you.
Also,
Sheriff
I
Albert.
forgot to
Oh
mention it.
wow,
I don't remember if I mentioned it, but you would actually be appointed sheriff. I mean, because basically the election is going to be um, within like 4 weeks. But if memory serves, I mentioned that the sheriff, like the replacement, would actually be before that. Like we're talking like within a week.
Yeah, I assumed it was just like an administrative, like the company is deciding. There's not democracy on this part, right?
Yeah, because well, there kind of is because in the sense that like, the Weyland Court does want the people to feel like they do have a say in matters. Like in terms of like the actual administrator that's elected by the people, but in the case of um, Albert replacing the sheriff, it's like you specifically caught their attention and they're like, yeah, no, fuck the election, we want you specifically as the sheriff. But due to the
Yeah,
candidates, and I mean, and they do listen to the people. It's like if the people are complaining and saying like we want a new colony administrator, like they will listen to that because of the way they see it. It's like if people are protesting, then they're not working. So
right. So maybe we can say that, under the letter of the law, the administrator appoints the sheriff, but the administrator got a strongly worded letter from some corporate executive saying this is your new sheriff.
yeah, pretty much. I'll agree with that.
Yeah, so I'm taking over, and those orders go into effect as of whatever, some number of days from now.
Yeah.
In between now and I guess the next session, probably, right?
Well, I mean, the next session. I mean,
I
uh,
mean, however you want to do it.
yeah, like I said, it'll probably be within a week in game. So probably a couple
Okay.
of sessions at most. But I mean, you still have some measure of authority. It's just it won't be official until
Right,
a few
right.
sessions from now. But it is going to
Yeah,
happen.
yeah. So I'll say, you know, my start date is whatever, the date is. Um, until then, I'm getting ramped up on what the situation is here and how we're gonna solve these problems. I hope I can count on the help of both of you if I need it in order to get this colony back on track.
Of course, my priority is the safety of and prosperity of Terra Nova colony here. So I am I am no law enforcement type, as you can clearly see. But anything you need from me, I am willing to help out. Always that is not a problem for the common good of this place. I am available and have enough skills to be helpful in a myriad of circumstances. Uh, if you don't mind me asking, I don't know if this is security personnel classified information. If it's not, if it is, I will uh, get off your back gladly there. But uh, if you don't mind me asking, how do you plan to get the situation under hand if the previous sheriff had problems? Do you know what was happening there and why?
So the first thing I think I would want to hear Simone's answer before I
Oh yeah,
respond to Conrad.
Well, Simone's, what did
Oh,
she ask?
yeah, definitely.
If they're willing to help me.
Whether he has our, yeah, whether we will have his back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Whatever can help. I mean, I'm not, you know, not a sheriff or nothing, but whatever you need.
Well, let me
Excuse me.
let me let you both of you in on a little trade secret. The most important aspect to maintaining security and order is often knowing what the problems are, and I'll need your help with that. If there's any problems going on in the administration or with the prospectors, uh, please keep me informed, and we can get those problems resolved quickly.
of course. No security can do anything.
Yeah,
They
of
basically
course.
have their hands tied if they do not know what's happening, if you do not know what the problems are. So full transparency is completely something that is necessary in such operations as these. So you, I have your back regarding that. No problem.
So I'll just say to that, yes, I expect, or I'd like transparency with me, but information is powerful and discretion is advised with others who may take advantage of situations.
Of course, transparency is exceptionally needed for the authorized personnel, but
Yes,
that doesn't
exactly.
mean a lot of information isn't classified for, of course, security reasons. So we understand that if something is not to the correct, if something is not being done to the betterment of this whole operation, then some information is on a need to know basis.
Yes. So, Conrad, to answer your question, there's certainly some issues going on, as I'm sure that both of you have heard. I haven't had time to get fully briefed yet, but it certainly seems like the current administration has not stood up to these mercenaries the way, at least, that I would have.
Why do you believe they didn't react? What do you think the reasoning could have been?
I cannot speak to motives. I can at this point I can only speak to actions, and certainly their actions have been lacking.
Oh, that's a shame. But then it's good that I've heard that the administration is going to be replaced as well. So hopefully, somebody more amendable will be somebody more action orientated will be stepping up to make sure that the security is also running as smoothly as the other operations. We have a very uh, gratuitous situation here where the environment is relatively stable. So many of our uh, colony facilities from the tour I've been given seem to be working in completely uh, nominal standards. So if we could just get this last little thing up to speed, then this whole place could be maybe even the top list of colony safety, colony prosperity, and would be a great boom to call in further investments and further personnel wanting to come. So I fully hope that the security issue will be resolved in a timely manner.
Yes, well, that may depend on who our next administrator is.
That is true. That is true. I've heard I've heard, well, not a lot of concrete information there. There is one person that seems to be running unopposed, but at the same time, I'm not sure if it'll be just one, because there is a debate happening, and since there's a debate, that means there will be multiple contestants then vying for the seat. So we'll probably see after the fact how the candidates will approach this issue.
Yes, we'll have to see who's running. Out of character, do we know? I thought that you would mention that there were rumors that someone else was going to run. Like, do we know that, or is it just like we know that this one guy is running?
You would know that somebody else is running, but you wouldn't know who. I mean, out of character, obviously it's Blitz's character, and
Right,
he's not
right.
here right now. But like, similar to the whole thing about like how people know that the sheriff is being replaced, but they don't know it's you specifically. It's the same deal with the other candidates. Like, there's been talk that somebody is going to also be opposing Whiskey. It's just that they don't, it hasn't been made public who that person is.
Yeah, because
As of right now.
there's a debate, so
I mean,
Conrad is
they'll eventually
inferring
they'll
that.
eventually find out. It's just that it's a case of like, he hasn't really gone around. Like the idea I had for him, whenever he gets around to like campaigning is like, basically going around meeting the people, building up favor, and making like marketing himself, so to speak, so that way, he'll have a following, for the debate. Because it's like if he was appointed. I'm just sharing this as meta knowledge. He was appointed by the company, similar to how Albert was. But it's a case of like the colonists don't know that, and it's going to be a case of like if he shows up, and then people are going to be like, who's this guy? So, whereas like if he goes around helping people, which is the plan, then he eventually people are like, oh hey, it's that other guy that we've been supporting. So basically that's the idea there. Um, my question is there anything else you guys want to discuss in this current scene, or do you want to move on? Because I can go either way. I just want to know what the plan is.
Before going, Conrad will just like to mention to Albert about the situation between the engineering section and the union steward, that there seems to be accidents from time to time, and the personnel at the I forgot the name, but at the engineering section is getting a bit less love there, a bit less popular with the people. So he just letting Albert know that if people are getting into accidents, that some security measures will maybe need to be considered at that department as well, just as a place that's a bit lacking with certain aspects.
Ah, that's useful information. Thank you. This is the exact sorts of things I need to know to keep things running. I will turn to Simone and ask. So Simone, do you have any questions for me or anything of interest?
Uh, I guess not really a question. It's more of just I'm curious. I mean, you have the best interests of the colony at mind, right? You're not like selfish.
Hold on, I got a
Or
meme for that.
you're not acting selfishly, rather.
Do I need
Conrad
to
has
do a
a
role here? What's the?
Conrad has a perplexed look on his face, like, what?
Well, I just posted a GIF that sums it up. Well, yes, but actually no.
Oh, that's perfect.
I mean, if you're gonna lie to her, then probably yes.
Let's see. How do I want to? How should I
I mean,
phrase this in character?
Out of character, I know, but in character, just asking. Oh, laughing and dying.
Oh god.
Oh goodness.
Conrad is feigning a kind of bemused, perplexed facial expression at Simone. Like, why would you ask something like that? But at the same time,
You
Conrad,
know who I am.
Conrad in the corner of his eye is keeping an eye out for Albert's expressions and answers to see if something fishy happens there.
Oh god.
So what I'll say is, I think is this. In my experience, a smoothly operating colony is good for everyone: the people, the colony as a whole, and the company. I'll be working to achieve that and making sure everything goes smoothly. These strikes, these protests, uh, these issues with the engineering staff that Conrad mentioned, these are no good for anyone. We've got to get them resolved and get back to work.
I say we cheer to that. Seems we all on the same page.
Yeah, I would say in that
Well,
case a
Terra
roll is
Nova.
not required because you in my opinion, you kind of cleverly um gave like a sort of like metaphorically true answer without really, you know, I at least I'm good.
Yeah.
If I were in that position, I would be convinced.
Sounds
Yeah,
like
that
a
works
very
for
good
me.
towing the line. Yeah. and Conrad wants to
Yeah.
propose the toast to
You
get
gave a very good.
Simon out of there.
you gave a very good non-answer about.
Yeah, I was about
where
to say a non-answer.
you're
That's perfect.
going about it.
Yeah,
Yes,
like
I have a special talent
That
called
works.
bullshit artist. So.
Nice. A custom one, I see.
yeah,
Yes,
homebrew
yes, for
talent.
this
We worked it
campaign,
out
yes.
before game. Yeah. So
To Terra Nova
Is
then,
that
for
what
the
you call
colony.
it? Bullshit talent?
So, Simone, is there anything else you wanted to know?
Just at the moment, no. Like, sorry, this is maybe more of an out of character question, but like the mercs who've been attacking the colony, are they just going after what's his nuts, the administrator, and a couple other things? Or are they messing with everything?
Well,
I just want a clarification.
I mean, I can answer that in character because I was informed.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So, yes, these mercenaries are really a threat to everyone. It seems that there has been some destruction of property, some kidnappings, and even a few deaths. I must say, certainly it's an annoyance for the company, but those on the front line always suffer the most, especially those who might be off on their own, exploring the planet and mining and doing other tasks, perhaps such as yourself and your team. So that's who I'm concerned about and who will be needing to protect.
Yep. Yeah, I'll definitely, in that case, keep my eye open in case we ever, we see anything. Because, the last thing we need is a lot of people getting hurt, even more so than what's already happened. So, yeah, it's going to be... Hopefully we can deal with this issue without any more, loss of life, hopefully.
Are you suggesting,
Oh
Albert,
boy.
that
It'll be
these
fun time.
mercenaries are a danger to our little mining outposts and prospecting opportunities?
I suggest that they're a danger, period, to the colony as a whole. And I think it would be unwise at this stage to make any assumptions about what they might not do.
True.
Assumptions get you killed in this business.
This is Terra Nova. I think we can make this a place where death becomes relatively foreign. I hope. I hope we can.
Perhaps one
I
day,
have
but
to
for
be
now,
tired.
this is still the frontier, and the rules are
It
different out
is.
here. We're in the Wild West.
That's
So,
true. That's true. We
um,
kind of want to be naive.
so do you guys want to? Is there anything else you want to discuss, or do you want to continue on?
No, nothing particularly from Conrad.
I'm good with continuing.
Okay.
Yep.
So, alright, so basically, yeah, that scene ends. Like, eventually, you guys, you finish your drinks, finish your conversation, you head home together. Um, you get a night's rest, and then after,
Uh,
getting some
I
stuff. Oh,
Conrad, I just wanted to note that before going to bed, Conrad will basically relay the important information about the security question to his terminal, to his company contact.
right. Okay, yeah, you could do that. So, um,
I would also like to do one thing if we're
sure.
ending the day.
Yeah, sure.
So I would go to Alexandra's, like, wherever she is, like her apartment or whatever, and I would tell her that I want to report on this whiskey guy, because she also served in Somalia with
Yeah.
him potentially. So
Well,
I want to
yeah.
know what she knows. I want to know like what his records are, like at the colony records, like all that sort of stuff.
Okay. She
I,
says
I want
that.
to know this guy's secrets. I want to know what's his
Okay, you
deal.
want dirt. You want dirt on him. So,
Yeah.
um,
I
so
want to know who
she's
I'm dealing with and what
yeah.
I might be able to use against him.
Yeah, she says that I don't it's like I mean, I never, served with him or heard of him in when I was serving in Somalia. Um, but and while I wouldn't I mean, I wouldn't have access to, company records here in Terra Nova, but I can potentially do some cross-referencing of people who served during the Axis War, and I'll see what I can dig up.
Excellent. Thank you.
So, okay, so after heading because and also she would basically have like she's in a similar housing situation as you guys, just like has like random housemates. Um, so basically you're just heading over to her place and then walking home. So, yeah. So is there anything else you guys are doing before ending this day and then going to the next? I'll take that as a no. Okay, so next day you wake up and as a reminder there was an orientation at what was it 11 a.m. Um, so the question is, do you want to do anything before orientation, or do you want to just kind of fast forward to that orientation?
I had like a meta question.
Sure.
One of the characters' name is Carradine. Is there any relation there with the character from Romulus intended?
No.
Okay.
So I mean, it's a good question to ask, but I wasn't thinking of Rain when I picked that name. I liked the name, and therefore I used it. But no, Jace is not related to Rain. But that is a good question. So anyway, but as for yeah, like I said, does anybody want to do anything before you go to orientation?
I think I would like to go to the armory. So I'm officially on the police force, but
Yeah,
I'm not
you're
yet.
not the
Okay,
sheriff
so
yet.
I would go to the armory and I would like check out a weapon. Like I'd have to look at the exact list, but like
Yeah.
a pistol probably.
Okay, so in terms of pistols, I mean they have ES4 electrostatic pistols, which are the pistols from Prometheus that like stun you if you get hit. Um, those are really good guns. So if you want to have one of those, you can, and then you can get up to like you can be issued up to 3 reloads. You could personally purchase more, but you would be able to get 3 for free.
Okay,
Um,
I'm trying to. I think probably I would want a service pistol and the stun baton.
okay,
We'll keep it kind of reasonable.
okay. Well, I mean the electrostatic pistols aren't like especially uncommon or specialized gear. I mean you could get one of those if you want, and they are
Yeah,
armor
what?
piercing.
Uh, Okay. Are they in the book? Like, what's the stats on those?
So the ES4 electrostatic pistol is from the Colonial Marines manual. It is damage 1, bonus 1, um, armor piercing, and has a stun effect. So basically, like if somebody gets hit by it, they have to do a hard stamina roll, or they lose their action in a round.
Okay. Yeah, I'll get that, and then the stun baton.
Okay, yeah, you can do that. And you can also check out a suit of like a Kevlar vest, for armor.
Yeah, just like the very basic, like
Yeah,
I wouldn't
that's
be walking around the colony like super tanked up or whatever, but
yeah, no,
basic
it's
vest.
just a Kevlar vest, so that's fine. Um, so okay, so you can get that. So add those items to your sheet. You should have observer permissions of like armor, weapons, etc. Um, so at well, actually, Conrad and or Simone, is there anything either of you want to do in the few hours before orientation?
Just breakfast and coffee.
Okie doke. Um,
Yep.
so all right. So what we'll do is I will drag you over to the next map. I just gotta get Albert's token there. Um, so I'm gonna activate this map. Um, so at orientation, basically, yeah, you have all the new colonists who have gathered outside of the command center. Well, actually, you guys have vision of the map, right?
Yep.
All right, cool. So,
Yeah.
you do have, so basically there are a couple of security personnel who I would say that, uh, in the case of Albert, like you could probably get acquainted with all these people. This is just like a generic extra. But you have, Sheila Wyatt Singh, Antonin Shapunov, and Namila Riley. And then obviously Dustin and Alexander are in the back, and the sheriff's here. So you'd be at his side. Um, and he gives like all the new colonists from the ninth are here, including the 3 other PCs. And so what he does is he gives a speech for the people who weren't, uh, like he says, proud new citizens of Terra Nova, on behalf of Colonial Supervisor Croft, I, Sheriff Wolf Jones, welcome you to your new home. If you're wondering why it is I who am giving you this speech, well, there's a bit of bad news. Some of you may have heard, but for those who haven't, our colony has been threatened by a group of Russian marauders. We don't know who sent them, we don't know why, and we don't know what their motives are other than showing up demanding our resources and causing chaos. This planet is unusually rich in palladium and promethium, and it's believed that they might be trying to take that from us. Uh, the citizens of Terra Nova have been demanding change, more decisive action from Administrator Croft, and as a result, with Weyland Corps approval, elections to appoint a new colonial supervisor will be held within the next 4 weeks, with a political debate taking place 2 weeks from today. Some of you may be eligible to hold that position, he says, implicitly referring to Arthur's character, like Blitz's character. In which case I would speak with Union Steward Sky Henderson to get the ball rolling if that's something you wish to do. Anyway, regarding the Marauders, while security will do its best to keep you safe during this troubled time, it's important that you know how to protect yourselves. Half of it will be covered in orientation, and it's at this moment that you hear assault rifle fire, basically like firing up in the air, and speak of the devil, some mercs show up. Uh, and the colonists, like the NPCs, start panicking. They either hit the deck or flee for cover, and the security personnel takes aim at them but doesn't fire. So there's a brief exchange um, between.
Sorry.
Sure.
Like, so there's people attacking this meeting.
They're not shooting at the colonists, but they basically do the thing where like they fire a burst into the air to scare everybody and like make their presence known. But they're not doing like a mass shooting. They're just like they're making their presence known.
Oh,
We
so
got
they just like
ambushed.
bust out of the jungle or whatever.
Well, not in the jungle, but they were maneuvering rather cleverly, I guess. I mean, they would have come from the jungle. I'm just saying that they weren't just walking out in the open. They kind of came from came around the corner from adjacent buildings and marched up the center. Like which basically also for reference, these little like oval like cylinders are like you know I don't know, like those potted plant basins where they have like trees and plants and stuff. That's basically what these are, aka
Vendors.
cover. Yeah. um, so anyway, so Jones says, attacking a group of new colonists during orientation, that's low even for you bastards. And the squad leader says, yes, unless you want this to get bloody, you either pay tribute or hand over Croft, or you'll end up with an overfilled morgue in no time. And Jones basically, I mean, all but says to the guy to go fuck himself. And that Terra Nova won't give it a coercion by him and his people. This proves to be a mistake because that results in the Russians being provoked and murking uncredited extra number 12, and now initiative begins. So
No, Mr. Redshirt, no.
I will add. Basically, the way I'm going to handle this is
He's dead, Wolf.
what?
He's dead, Wolf.
Oh, yeah. So I will. What I'll do is I'll have like just these. Well, to make it easier because Blitz isn't here, I'll say that one of these guys is over here for now, and we'll just have like starter combat essentially because you guys aren't soldiers like in my last game. So basically, like the NPC guards will be handling like this group, and then these guys, and the PCs like these Russians will be, they'll be targeting like straight ahead where Alexandra, Dustin, Albert, and Wolf are. But Simone, Conrad, and/or Arturo can potentially intervene. So I'm gonna roll draw all. Oh, that's not good. Do any of you have fast reflexes? I doubt it, but
Nope, not
okay.
yet. After this, that must
no.
be next talent.
Okay. All right. Well, this is interesting. What I'll do, I'll be nice and I'll give one PC like a first slot. So who wants to go first? Like, because basically it'll be a PC and then a Marauder and then normal order.
I mean, I think
Well,
logically I would, because
Okay.
I
Yeah.
would have seen them first, right?
Yeah.
Because I
Okay.
would be looking in their direction, whereas
Okay.
everyone else would have their back turned.
that makes sense.
Okay. Then we'll put Albert first. So I'm gonna swap initiative with Albert. Okay. So
After this,
Alright.
we're all getting fast reflexes. I see.
yeah, probably. Yeah, I wasn't expecting them to roll so hot on their fucking initiative, but okay. So Albert, you're up first.
Okay, so just so I understand, so like Wolf, Alexandra, Dustin, and we're all armed, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and I don't know, and I guess there's other security people that are handling these other
Yeah,
attackers,
like
but I don't know whether Conrad or any of these civilians are.
yeah,
Yep.
you don't all these I mean out of character I think all the PCs have some sort of pistol. It's just that they don't have their guns drawn. So like you guys would like if you
Right,
were
right,
going to
right.
get involved in combat, you would have to spend an action to pull out your guns and then use them. So
Right, and yeah, so would I. So, and it's what it's like a quick action or whatever it's called to
yeah,
pull out your weapon.
fast action to draw a gun and slow action to shoot it. In terms of range, you are in range to shoot them. So
Okay, yeah, so I'll definitely because I don't have time to get to any cover because the colonists are immediately in danger. I will draw my pistol. I guess I'll aim at the first guy, whoever looks the most threatening, whoever has the biggest gun.
well, they have the same. They have
Okay.
F90 assault rifles, but I will note this guy will go first.
Okay, so maybe he looks a little bit more dangerous, so I'll target
Yeah.
him.
Okay. I also will point out, in terms of rolling, because I mean this is something that the other players are aware of, but this is your first time in my games. Like Foundry, for whatever reason, it's very inconsistent with rolls. So like, what I tend to do is like tally up, your bonuses and your dice pool, and then roll that manually. So for example, like the ES4 gives you +1. You have agility 3, range combat 2, so you'd be rolling 6 dice. So you would type like /r space 6d6. Because that would kind of generally improve your chances of succeeding. Whereas, like in my last game, Steel Talons, it was okay. I just completely contradicted myself. Do you want to push that?
Uh, sure.
Okay, so just 66 again, and then +1 ds to that, and then mark up a stress.
So it would be 6d or 7d6.
But no, 6d6 +1 ds because the 1 ds is a stress dice because you're pushing, and the
Right, right, right.
66 is just your base dice.
And if you roll like that, don't forget to mark up the stress in the character sheet.
Oh, this is not... God.
Here we
Oh
go.
no.
Well,
Okay.
Great start.
Yeah, so okay, now for no, well that brings up the new panic rules perfectly. So The new stress table. So I will show this handout to players just so we can all follow along here. Um, so in this case, roll 2d6.
Oh my god.
This is gonna be fun.
Oh shit. Okay, so that's a total of 10 because you have the, or actually no, that's a total of 12 because you have the +1 stress. But what is your resolve total? You have, it's wits plus empathy divided by 2, so you would have,
Rounded up.
yeah, rounded up, so that's 7 divided by 2 is 4. So
That'd be 8. Right.
okay, so
Manage to injure
injuries.
yourself somehow.
No, I know how you do this. So you guys know that video where that guy tries to quick draw his pistol and he shoots. I just fucking shot myself.
Okay, great. We're off to a great start. Let's go.
Okay, sorry. I mean, I just.
You shot yourself.
Well, that's
in the
just funny.
foot, man.
I'm really impressing everyone as the new sheriff.
So you think of what to do. Well, actually, technically your armor would apply if you. Oh no,
Well,
never
it
mind.
says armor does not apply.
Right, you're right. I just noticed that. Okay, so you just fucking shot yourself first roll of the game.
Well, it's better than getting the 9 and
I
killing
will
a
blame the
civilian
weapon because I
outright.
didn't have time to check it out. So this weapon's been improperly calibrated.
Yes, even
I'm
more.
gonna speak to the
There's
armorer after this if I live.
Okay.
exactly corruption in the armor.
Did he shoot himself with the? Did he shoot himself with the shock pistol? Because
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Stun, roll
no,
stun.
no.
well, you roll your
Stamina,
minus 2 stamina.
Oh
So
my god.
if you want to roll that manually,
I was made curious. I wasn't.
like if you want to roll that
So-
manually
Yep.
or just from the sheet, I don't mind either.
Stamina is strength, right?
Yeah, stamina is based on
Yeah.
strength.
Oh my god.
Oh, you succeed.
Oh my
Sorry,
god.
man.
Okay, so you're fine.
Oh god.
Other than shooting yourself.
You feel a light tingle.
Oh
In the
God.
physical
Oh,
world.
that's funny. Okay, so that that was Albert. So God, I know it makes logical sense that that they would
Goodness.
shoot back at Albert, but I'm not going to be mean, so I'm going to say he shoots. I'm going to roll
Well,
D3.
I probably
Many
look like a
civilians.
moron, so I was like, this guy's no threat.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to roll a D3, 1D3. All right, he's going to shoot at El Presidente. And obviously, per my policy, I mean, especially with Blitz being, missing in action, if something like if he gets credit in something bad, I'll lower the
Yeah,
credit.
he won't die.
So-
He'll just get
Oh,
fucked up.
also, Albert, I need you to do a power roll in the pistol because the way I'm handling it is unlike in the core, like unlike in the first edition where like if you get a panic you instantly mag dump. They have like a power supply roll, like a supply roll for ammo. So like
What
you
is
roll.
that?
You see,
D6?
no. You see the like between range and reloads, there's PWR for power. There's a 2. If you click that 2, it'll roll the power supply.
On the inventory tab, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
In the listing for the weapon, you just roll the power. You see, if you get a panic, then you use part of your reloads, and then if you get down to 0, then that means you've. Okay, you're fine. So you
Lovely.
don't use a whole bunch of ammo. You don't shoot yourself repeatedly. So this guy, I'm going to have him roll his rifle, and I'll just roll it from the sheet, I guess. Uh-oh. So I had Albert selected, but that was this guy. So he is going to.
Does he have the same skills that I do? Is he? Because that might be more dice.
Actually, hold on. Well, he has
I think
agility 3, range combat 3, so he does have the same dice pool, and the F90 does not have a bonus apparently. So
Okay, so it cancels. Okay.
well, I mean, I was just rolling for like that's his stats. It's just I accidentally had you selected. So
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So-
it just screws up the names because you select another person, but it
Yep.
rolls the thing from the sheet.
Exactly.
It's funny.
So he's going to shoot El Presidente, hit him for 2. He does not have any armor, so he just takes 2 damage, and then I'll say the He might do a stunt. What can he do? He will pin down your enemy. They need to make a panic roll. So let's do this. I'll have him selected /R2d6. So 9, and then he didn't have any stress. And then resolve. His resolve is a total. So what's an empathy divided by 2? So 7 divided by. So he has 4, if I'm doing my
4.
math right.
Yep.
Yeah, because
Yep.
rounded up. Okay, and then so -4. So 9 minus 4 is 5. So stress level. So basically, Conrad and Simone, you get 1 stress because it was loud
Woohoo!
noise. So.
Okay.
All right, so there's that. So he takes 2 damage. That's that guy's turn. Next up is where's the initiative tracker? Next up is Conrad.
Conrad being the
Can
only
I swap
smart person.
initiative with
Oh.
Arturo?
What now? Oh yeah,
Would
if
I
you
be
want to
able to
switch.
swap
Yeah,
initiative with the
right. I forgot about that. Yeah, you can swap with him.
Presidente?
Yeah, you can
Okay.
swap with him.
I just wanted to move up a little bit.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
But sorry.
Okay, so Conrad.
He's going to do the smart thing, and he's going to run. He is going here, so he has the potted plants and the humans as a shield, and he will draw his pistol if things get south.
Okay,
That's
so
all the actions he's got.
yeah, all right. So this guy. This other one, seeing you make a run for it and seeing you pull out your gun, is going to fire at you. And this time I'll roll from the sheet. Maybe they actually. Okay. Maybe on second thought, maybe actually do roll from the sheet because it's like these guys at least are rolling hot. Maybe that was just a problem with Steel Towns. I don't know. So, but yeah. Full disclosure to Albert that I was not trying to gimp you. I'm just remembered and Greg and Emily can vouch for me on this. In Steel Talons, the last game I did, like the players were trying to roll from the sheets and was like barely succeeding. Like we had our smart gunner who had 21 dice and he was lucky to get like 2 successes. So anyway, so this guy is going to shoot at Conrad. I would say the plant, like the terrace thing, is going to give you. Let's see, where is Maverick
Can I
armor?
count the cards as a shield as well?
Count the
Well, it has
columns?
a lot of dirt in it, right? Like that would probably slow the bullets down pretty well.
Possible, yeah. So let's see. Range combat, cover. I'll count it as a armor rating of 3 because they basically have like
Okay.
shrubbery is 2, furniture is 3. So I'll say it's a 3. So roll 3 dice for your armor.
Okay. Oh, good. So it's not armor piercing.
Yeah, no, it's just an F90. It's not armor piercing. Okay, so you negate 1 damage. 2 gets through, so you take 2 damage.
Wee. Now question, are you using the new rules for how health is calculated or the old rules? Because
what new rules?
it's gonna come up. The health is calculated by strength and agility divided by 2 rounded up, the same way as resolve is.
Oh, I did not know that was a thing.
It's
Well, let me ask
with...
the group. Do you guys want to do that, where your health is based on strength? Like that's like Twilight 2000, honestly.
Yep.
Strength and agility divided by 2.
Yeah, it was in Blade
It doesn't
Runner as well.
impact me either way. So
okay. Well, okay, sure. So,
because that would change my health from a 2 to a minimum of 3.
I mean, because I am trying to use the newer rules, like experiment with them in this. So if that's a rule and I didn't know about it, then I will use that.
I'm fine with it.
All right,
It's
so
in the page. It's in the pages I sent you. I'll resend
right,
it to you to see how it's there.
I didn't notice
It
that
basically,
before.
it basically, the only real change is that there will never be a minimum of 2. Again, because of that, because things are rounded up, so it's kind of a little buff.
Okay.
But
all right.
yeah.
Well, either way, so yeah. Then in that
Yeah.
case,
So basically, I'm at 1 health.
Okay. Well, better than being fucking dead. So,
yeah.
Okay, so that that happens. So that was that guy's turn. Kowalski, it's yours, or Simone rather.
All right. So I will use my fast action to pull out my the revolver I have, and so I'll target that dude.
I will mention as a reminder, this guy's going to go first. If you want to try to whittle him down.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, so I'll target him instead. I'm set in my ways about rolling the manual dice. I'm nervous about the just
Yeah, because by this
This one
point
is an
now,
experiment.
there's no knowing now.
um I'll roll the manual dice for
Alright.
this round, and then
Yeah, that goes.
depending on
Yeah.
what happens, I'll. Okay. So that's a bonus of 1 from the Magnum. 5, 6 base, plus 1 stress.
Okay, so that was a pretty decent roll of other than fucking panic. Okay, so first roll your ammo supply.
Okay. And I just roll
The power.
click the power.
Yeah, just make sure you don't have anything else that uses. Okay, so you're fine. So for your panic, I guess I'm just trying to resolve that first. So roll 2d6. Okay, 6, and then plus 1 stress, so that's 7, and then minus your, what is your resolve total?
Resolve is
Your wits and empathy divided by 2, rounded up.
6 divided by 2, 3. 7
Okay.
minus 3, 4.
Okay, so that is aggravated stress level plus 1 for you and all their pieces. So basically, again, you and Conrad. But now, as for your roll, that's 3 damage on that guy. I'm going to roll his armor. He doesn't soak any of it, but that's pretty. Are you doing all damage or are you doing a stunt?
Let me look at the stunts real fast.
I'd suggest all damage.
Yeah.
In part because realistically, like he
I'll
would just have to fucking pick up his gun and shoot you again. So
all
okay,
damage.
all right.
Yeah.
So
But yeah, I'll just do all damage.
okay, so he takes 3. So that's a pretty brutal hit. Takes him below half. So and then El Presidente is going to draw his fucking golden plated Gorm 44.
Damn.
Cause here's what he did. He started with an M4A3, and then he had like, cause he bought a Gorm with his starting money, and then he was like, well, if I sell the M4, can I use that to get like gold plate? Like it doesn't have any mechanical benefits, just kind of like a rule of cool thing. And I was like, sure. Um, so he's gonna roll his pistol and try to finish off the guy who shot him. Holy fuck! Okay, maybe they did fix the
Jesus,
dice.
motherfuck.
All right, so he is going to. Well, I'm going to roll that power first. Okay, so he just unloads on the guy and his revolver cylinder click click click. Um, so this guy, I'm going to roll his armor piercing. Okay, so he does soak one of it shockingly, but that's enough to kill him. Just for fun, I'm going to see what his crit would be. Yikes.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
yeah, so he gets a gut shot, and I'll just say he bleeds out and dies. So anyway, um, so Albert.
All right, this cover is looking pretty good, so I'm gonna go over here. How can I drag? There we go. I get it
Okay.
over to cover here, and I'm gonna shoot the other guy.
Okay.
I'll shoot that guy.
All right.
Let me roll on my thing here.
Yeah, if you want to roll on the character sheet and see if you have better odds with that, then I'm fine with that. Yeah. Oh, okay. So yeah, they fixed the character sheet. So
Okay,
Oh, that's
here we go.
fucking
great.
hell.
Alright, so I gotta roll the power, right?
Sweet
Yeah,
mother.
roll the power to see if you. Okay, so you're fine.
Yeah, I'm just gonna do all damage to that dude.
Okay, so
5.
hold on. Well, it's 1. So basic says 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, 4.
Yeah.
Armor
So
piercing.
yep. So I'm gonna roll armor piercing on this guy. He soaks 1 of it, but that's a total of 3 getting through, and now he has to do -2 stamina. So -2. Let's see what. Okay, he resists the stun effect, but he he still takes a
He's
pretty good
hurt me.
shot. Oh, absolutely. Conrad.
So, quick question. So does my pistol, it does not have reloads, it just uses power?
No, it uses reloads. I'm just using the power as like a, there isn't actually like an official
Oh,
thing
the
in this.
stun. So the power is the stun.
Well, no. The power. So the second edition rules, something they're doing is like, so normally when you panic in first edition, you instantly like you have unlimited ammo until you panic, in which case you just like instantly mag dump. But what I'm doing instead, based on leaked pages from the second edition that they're doing, is like, you have a power, like a supply, like an ammo rating, that varies from weapon to weapon, and each time you shoot, you roll that. So basically, it's not a case like in first edition, you could theoretically have a smart gun with a full load of ammo, and then roll 1 panic, and then you just magged up 500 rounds, which is a bit unrealistic.
Yeah.
So that's a change they made that I liked, and I'm going to be using that for this. But because there isn't like an official thing on the sheet for ammo or for like ammo rolls, that I'm just using power instead. So the gun actually does use bullets. It's just that power is used to represent the magazine capacity, if that makes sense.
Okay, so if I rolled a 1, I would decrease the reloads.
Well, no.
I would.
If you rolled a 1, that basically means like about half of your magazine is down, and if you get down to 0 power, then you have to spend a reload.
Oh, okay, and then I would go back to 2.
Yeah, then you would go from 3 reloads to 2, and then your power would go back up to 2 because it's a new reload. Does that make sense?
Oh, okay. Okay. We can continue.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, I just wanted to. I mean, it's a good question. I just wanted to elaborate that for everybody. Okay, Conrad, you're up.
Yep. Aiming and shooting.
All right. So, are you going to push that or keep it? Which actually, I should have asked that to Albert. Do you want to push that roll? I mean, you could only get 2 extra successes, but it's up to you.
Yes, I would like to try to kill that dude
All right. So,
to make up for my screw up before.
All right, go for it.
Oh, it's only 2? Never mind.
Yeah,
That's
it wouldn't
fine.
really be worth it. So,
He'll push it though.
okay. Yeah, if you want to push that, Conrad, go for it. Okay. Very nice. That's 3 successes, all damage.
Yep. Standard armor, no
Right.
armor piercing.
Yep. So I'll roll that, and oh wow. Okay. So he blocks the 2 extra successes, but you do get 1 point through, so he's almost dead. And now it is his turn. Seeing as I think it was Kowalski or like Simone and Arturo who shot at his friend, he's gonna take a pot shot at Simone.
That's fair.
So he's gonna shoot. Okay, so he gets 1 success. So that's 2 damage. And you adjusted
Yep,
your health,
I
right,
know
based on
armor,
the
so I
ruling
just
about
took
like
it.
strength and agility.
Yeah.
Okay.
It didn't change in the way
Right.
it's usually calculated because I have strength 4 and it's 4 and 4 and then
Right,
it's
so
just
it'd still be
D4.
4 either way. Okay.
Uh,
All right. So, but yeah, you take 2. So that he's not doing any stunts or anything. So, okay. And speaking of you, it's your turn.
yes, indeedy. All right, so I am going to fast action aim, so I'll target the dude. That's a +2, I believe.
Yeah,
For
aiming gives you a
aiming or
+2.
+1.
It's +2.
Okay. Yep.
Ooh, nice. All damage?
I'll push that.
Ooh, nice. Oh man, oh my. Okay, I'm gonna
Yep,
roll
all
his.
damage.
Actually, hold on, wait. 4, 6. I'm not even gonna bother rolling his armor. The reason why is because like if even if he rolled all 4 on his armor because he has Kevlar like Albert does, like even if he rolled all 4, that's exactly enough damage to kill him. So he's dead. So I'm gonna see what his crit would be just in case. All right, you shot him in the arm, and he flies backwards. And then as for the other guys who are fighting in the background, basically the ones that don't die, they just turn tail and run. So that is settled, and you know, uh, Wolf is just basically like reloads revolver, flip cocks, and it's like I'm getting too old for this shit. And I also just realized I never this whole fucking encounter I never revealed the zone boundaries. That's on me. So, um, oops. Um, so yeah, so
Conrad is just screaming, "I got shot! I got shot!
yeah, and then
Man
um,
down!" He's
yeah,
talking about himself.
so yeah, so um, then I'll say by this point, like the you know Alexandra or somebody else would have called for basically said like, yeah, we had a shooting over here. We need a EMTs here on the double. So basically, in the aftermath of the shootout, like you have medical staff from the hospital coming along, patching people, like because maybe like a few civilians took a bullet here or there. Obviously, all the players did. So you guys are getting medical attention, and and then long story short, orientation is or the rest of it has been postponed. Um, due to the chaos of this. So you guys are left to your own devices for the day. So, um, what are you planning on doing?
I think the first thing I would do, I'd be like, I'd look at this pistol and be like, "F this crappy thing." So I'm gonna trade it in for like probably. I'd have to look through the weapons. I would get a different pistol. I'll look through them later.
Okay.
Um, but convinced at the seriousness, I think I'm gonna try to requisition one of the storm rifles. I'll be like,
Okay.
well, I'm never getting caught with only a pistol again.
Yeah, you can have a storm rifle, and also the storm rifle does have an underbarrel shotgun which can load baton rounds.
Oh,
So
okay.
you could get that as well. You could have a storm rifle with baton rounds.
Okay, so I'll figure out the pistol later.
Okay, that's fine. Because you like as a security team member, you're authorized to carry like a rifle class weapon of some kind, which could be like a pistol or a shotgun or something like that, and then a sidearm of your choice. So, I mean, you got time. Just let me know whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
And then so yeah, in the aftermath of that, so you're getting rearmed. And does for Conrad and Simone, what are you guys up to?
He's going to the med bay.
Yeah, I had a feeling that was probably well, I mean, you did get treatment on site because like the paramedics came and we're dealing with the people who got hurt in the shootout.
He's
Favorite
still going to get a nap there to get his health back up and the stress back down. He's just gonna be like out of it.
And I also say so. Quick question for Simone: are you going to be want to do anything? Because I have something for Albert in a sec.
Nothing specific. I think I'd probably tag along on Conrad because
Okay.
I see how much of a baby he's being, and
So,
just like,
I'm
we're gonna
dying.
go through rough scrapes of this. It's just a bullet.
just the bullet.
Quit your whinging.
Flesh
So
wound.
yeah. So now what I'll say is that in terms of the yeah, so I'll say this is probably like few hours after the shooting.
So
Um, oh, sorry.
just real quick before we do that, so I would go get the rifle and then probably come right back to this location here. Was the leader of the group, was that one of the guys that we killed?
The squad leader, like of this particular group, yes. Whether he was the actual leader of the whole organization, you don't know.
Right. I mean the guy who was like shouting at
Yeah,
Jones.
the guy who was sparring with the sheriff, like he was one of the ones that you killed.
Okay, so I would go to him and I'd want to search through his belongings and see like does he have any
Yeah, that's actually
information
what I
or
was getting to.
okay,
Is that
okay.
Oh,
so?
I forgot to roll my ammo. Sorry, I'll do that
Oh,
just
sure,
now.
go.
Sorry to interrupt you.
Sure, go ahead and do that. So, but yeah, like basically the bodies, like they've been, taken away by the security team so that like civilians don't get any ideas about like looting them and obviously, collecting the evidence and stuff. But as a security team member, you have full access to the area where they're doing the autopsy. So basically the slain Russians, they have dog tags that give their identities and basic information, but what you can figure out with the basic research, obviously, is that these aren't military tags, so that rules out at least on the surface, rules out the possibility of them being like official military personnel. These particular guys, um, they don't have any. They were smart enough to not bring any like data pads or phones or anything, but they do have radios, and that might be of use to you.
Okay, so I want to um determine the frequency or whatever and any
Okay.
maybe encryption that the radios were using.
Okay. In that case, I would say it's a Comtech role. You don't have to be the one doing it.
Yeah.
Um,
I think I would go to whoever the expert is, like the security expert on that.
okay.
I would like it maybe is that Alexandra or somebody.
Um,
Um
all I'll say is that there's one guy in the security team who is like the desk jockey cop for the most part. Um, who I'll share art of this guy because I also think it's funny. Like he this is basically the cop you see at the donut shop all the time. So
yeah, or maybe like if there's someone in the IT department or whatever, I'd be like, "Hey, I need
right.
this stuff."
Yeah, so well you can talk to this
Albert
guy,
will look at him and said no.
Edward Carlsberg. He's going to like um he basically says like imagine like Brad Garrett with a Danish accent. Um where he says like, "Good, hands over the radios," and he's going to get cracking on that. So he will do a Comtech roll.
So
Um,
let's see. Can I do like an order to help him succeed?
I mean, he already succeeded, so you don't need to.
Okay.
Um, now I will say
Oh,
if you
I don't think I mentioned this, but I am off an officer. That's the
right,
class that I'm playing.
yeah, you do have you know some talents and like social stats and stuff. But I mean, he does succeed, so he's able to pretty easily crack the code, and he gives you the radio frequency that they're using, and like you get through the encryption stuff. So like basically any transmissions that get sent, um, on this like through the radios that these marauders use, you can listen in on them. So you've got that. Um, and I think that times out. Well, let me ask you guys this: do you want to wrap here or potentially go on a little further? Because on one hand, it does seem like a good stopping point. I don't want to get too far with that blitz, but I mean, if you guys want to keep playing it, I'm all for it.
I'd like to finish unless there's something quick we can do.
Yeah, I'm good either way. I mean, maybe it's better to finish because we don't have blitz and yeah, so that we don't go
Yeah.
too far ahead
Seems like
without
a
him.
good stopping point.
Okay, yeah, because it's like I mean, like the idea I have in mind, just so you guys kind of know what I'm intending for this first little story arc or like little kind of complication that the group faces, is like you guys, if you want, can like look into these marauders and like what their goals are and who is actually behind this while he's out doing political stuff. Like that's kind of the
Yeah.
intention. Like you guys have stuff you can do, but the idea is that they kind of they sort of align around the same time, so that's why I didn't want to get too far. But I mean, this does seem like a good stopping point. So if you guys are fine with that, we can do exactly that. In terms of
I did want
XP,
to do
oh, what's
just
up?
one very quick thing.
Sure.
I would like to set up like automatic recording of that radio, the mercenary radio frequency.
Okay.
So basically, if they use it, then we have a recording of it.
Okay. So you
Like,
basically like have like OBS running in the background or
yeah,
something.
I'll just be like, whoever the the comms people are, I'll be like, hey, I want to monitor this frequency and let's make sure we record it, and I want to know if there's if there's any messages on here. I want to
Oh,
know immediately. Like, send it to my personal comm or my PDAT or whatever.
okay. Sounds good. So, all right. In terms of XP, courtesy of um, how the last ruling I did in Steel Talons resulted in the players being like demigods by the end of the campaign. I'm just going to for now give a flat 5 XP to all players. Um, so that's still enough to get a skill or a talent. So suffice to say, if you guys want to learn any talents, well, I'll say this much: two things. First one, you can learn like these NPCs do have talents, and you could learn from them. Um, and then the other thing is obviously, basically like if you want to learn a talent on your own, you can roll wits. Um, and also, obviously a skill. Like if you have at least 1 point in the skill, you can just increase it as is up to a max of 5. Or if you don't have a skill, then somebody can either train you or you have to use it and succeed. So, does anybody want to spend XP now? Because you do have the time.
I probably need to look into the stuff.
Conrad would thematically very appropriate with this situation that just got out of hand. He will try to intuitively learn the talent personal safety so that he never gets so close to death again. Let's see
Okay.
that wits roll.
All right. Very nice.
Yes,
So
yes,
you
my
get
man,
personal safety,
Conrad,
so you can use human beings as human shields.
as they were meant to be.
When you were suspicious of me, I just want to point out, Simone was suspicious of me. I took a bullet for the colony already. I just want to.
Yeah, bullet. You
Conrad,
fired.
You took your own bullet for the
Conrad
No one
took a
saw
bullet.
that. Everyone was looking at the attackers. Nobody saw.
The difference is that Albert took his own bullet. That's the problem. Conrad took a bullet from the enemy for the colony.
Yeah, either way. So you took personal safety. Albert, do you want to learn any talents right now or increase the skill?
Yeah, just let me look through the talent list. I'm probably gonna do range combat.
Okay. So you can increase range combat. It caps at 5. So, okay. Simone, do you want to spend your XP now or do you want to save it?
I want to try and learn fast reflexes.
Okay. I'll double check to see if
There's-
anybody here has.
Yes.
Oh, Alexandra does, but I mean that would actually require going and talking to her the first time. It'd be kind of weird to say like, "Hi, I don't know who you are. I've seen you once. Will you teach me a talent?"
I heard you're super fast.
Yeah.
So, so, I mean, if you want to roll it on your own though, that's fine.
Yeah, I'll roll it on my own, and if I fail, then
Yeah, if you fail, then
I'll
later on you can try
I'll-
interacting with her.
Yep.
Because with her
Question,
being
does
somewhat
that-
of a major character in Albert's sort of sphere, I mean, and actually, you do have story points though from Steel Talons.
Oh yeah, that would be a nice way to use it.
That is true. Sure, I'll spend one.
Okay.
So be the story point and XP.
Yep. And also, and just for reference with story points to this one, I think I'm going to be, I mean, well, actually, you know what I'm going to do for a story point, because it was like the funniest way to start a game. Albert, I'm going to give you a story point for fucking shooting yourself.
Oh my god.
That was hilarious. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it made everybody laugh. It was like the first roll of the game that wasn't like a determine how much money you have. You fucking shot yourself.
Oh yeah, that was the first skill roll.
That was the first skill roll, and that was in like the last quarter of the game, and he fucking shot himself. So I'll give you a story point for that. But as I was saying, like other than like really funny moments like that, what I think we're doing is like every major complication that the party overcomes. Like for example, like the thing with the Marauders is the first one in this story. Um, the group will get a story point for that. But it's like if somebody does something really funny or clever, then I give credit where it's due. So
Nice.
Okay.
man,
Question: Does Alexandra know the machine gunner talent?
Alexandra does not. She has fast reflexes. I
Okay.
do.
Does the other guy?
Dustin has bodyguard.
Okay.
Let's see what.
Just be happy it was a skill roll, not a kill roll.
Yeah. So the way that the
Yeah.
skill roll. So if I fail, I can just redo it later, right?
Yeah, like basically like the XP is sort of as in my mind is
Yeah,
like kind of
it's not
locked into
wasted.
that. Like you don't lose it, but you can't say, "Well, I failed this roll, so I'm going to just use it for this instead." Like that XP is sort of locked into that talent.
Okay,
If
and I
that
just
makes
have to
sense.
keep
Reserved.
rolling until I get
Yeah.
it, basically.
Yeah, or you can use a story point to automatically succeed on the roll. So,
Okay, let me roll for that. What is it like?
it's a wits
Wits,
roll. See if you can learn a talent, and then if you fail, you could just use a story point.
no stress die.
No stress. Which, speaking of all, your stress would probably be gone by this point. Oh, nice.
Oh,
Nice.
hell yeah.
So, all right. So you're learning machine gunner.
Hell yeah.
All right, get it. There you go.
'Cause my rifle is full auto,
Nice.
Yep.
and my experience in this game is that machine gunner is like the greatest talent in the world.
Well, no, merciless.
It's
I think it's
very
merciless
good.
because you fucking lose stress every time you kill something.
Oh yeah, that one's pretty good too.
So,
Don't worry, that's on the agenda card as well. For everyone, probably.
But I
so
mean, machine gunner is like insanely good because it like, I mean, I guess we'll see how the new stress rules work, but like stress management is like the thing to do in this game.
right.
Yep. Yep.
So
Martin
well,
Willem's ears perk up. Merciless, you say?
so but other than that, hopefully, how did you guys like this first session?
It was a very fun new kind of approach, and honestly wasn't expecting an ambush from the Russian pirates at the end, but that was an unexpected piece of fun there. I almost died if we didn't implement the new rules. I mean, yeah, I know with your rulings that you allow a reroll on
Right, but still,
immediate death crits, but
oh,
that would have been hilarious if the first combat I would have critted,
fucking
like
died
lost
in
a
the first.
leg or
Yeah,
something. Like imagine if I lost a leg or an ear or
I mean
something
that happened in Steel
immediately.
Towns when Arthur, like the first like space combat of the game, a fucking support pillar broke off and crushed his arm. So, and that was like within the first like 2 sessions of the game. So
that also happened in the CMOM game I was running.
yeah,
I'll have
when
to share that
fucking
story after we
Simmons,
get done.
yeah. So anyway, but yeah, if you guys have any other, questions, comments, concerns, do let me know. But hopefully you all had fun. That was very entertaining for me. So
It's very
For
fun,
me as
and
well, yeah.
okay.
I have to say that the pinnacle of the session, I believe, was like first shooty roll in our freaking our new sheriff shoots himself in the foot. That's
And it's not even
very,
metaphorically.
very
Yeah.
funny.
Oh,
I
that gave me an
apologize to
idea.
laugh at your
Conrad is gonna be
anguish, but it
using
was
Conrad is gonna be
funny.
using that phrase like "Don't shoot yourself in the foot." It's gonna be a nice
So
pain point there.
yeah. So yeah. Anyway, our next session will be on the 23rd, which I mean I'll obviously touch base with you guys closer to then to see who all's available.
Of
Yeah.
course.
But if there's nothing else, then I'm gonna go and you guys have a fabulous rest of your day.
Yeah, you
I would
too,
just
Thank
say
you.
I thought my answer to Simone's question was pretty good about.
Oh no, absolutely.
Oh,
I loved it.
definitely.
Oh yeah,
The fact that
yeah.
she asked that, you're like,
Totally
I
should
gotta
have.
figure out how to phrase it right. That was great. So
I love this group already. It's gonna be wild.
yeah,
This campaign,
I can't
man.
wait for El Presidente to join the mix because Jesus, I thought it
Oh,
was a
Yeah.
pretty
I can
entertaining
imagine that
activities for
fire.
him. Um,
Well, I mean, we could talk about some of the shenanigans that we were doing in Ramsey or whatever, because I was doing all
You,
kinds of crazy stuff.
yeah.
you want to hear the biggest shenanigan?
Hmm.
I haven't written where Martin retires. Ba-dum-tsh.
Well, I
Oh,
already kind of filled that in with the Steel Talons aftermath, but
Oh, you did?
yeah, Well, yeah. Long story short, with Martin is like, I was like, yeah. In terms of how badass you are, the final perfected hive, you cleared that out yourself. So,
Okay.
Makes sense,
but
Martin. Yeah.
anyway, yeah. If there's nothing else, I'm gonna get going, and I will see you guys later.